Man, are we rolling towards the NFL season? I mean, next week, it's here. I mean, think about it, right? I mean, we're like less than 100 days out from the banner dropping. I love keep reminding people of that. I mean, September 4th is right around the corner, and football season is like right there. Last night, if you had a chance to watch one of the greatest sporting events on the planet, it's the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. That was one unbelievable game last night. Game one in Edmonton. You know, the difference between sports is on display every time you watch the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. You know, when you get a Captain C on your sweater, that is earned. When you get these captaincies in other sports, they're given. Those guys last night, Connor McDavid, all just spectacular. Edmonton had to win that game last night, in my opinion, to make it a long series. That was must-see television last night. Game one of the Stanley Cup Finals was awesome. And that's going to be a long series. Now, my point is, tonight is game one of the NBA Finals. Adam Silver has this insane idea that people look at the NBA like they look at the NFL. Do you want to know the one glaring difference between the NFL and the NBA is this: Thunder versus Pacers. I'm not sure I have too much interest in that. You know, I learned something. Listen, as some of you know, I'm doing a radio show now in Tampa. And one thing you guys have taught me is this. Okay, it's not important what I want to talk about. It's more important what you want to listen to. There lies the difference in presentation of content. Do you understand that? Most people that are on the radio, they talk about what they know and what they're comfortable talking about instead of serving the audience in what they want. Okay? I mean, hey, I'd like to talk about the Canes. I'd like to talk about, college football. That's not what the majority of my audience here on this show wants to hear. They don't give a shit about that stuff. They want to know what their respective team is, what the division of the NFC East is doing, maybe some tidbits of the NFL, a little bit of college football. No, going to dismiss that. But, I mean, one of the reasons why I don't talk a lot of Major League Baseball, not very many people give a shit. I mean, wake me up after the All-Star game, right? So, at the end, how many people do you think this is really going to attract tonight? Thunder versus Pacers. I think that's going to be one of the storylines and interesting storylines to that story. How about this? When I say Pacers and Thunder, I don't know, and I'm just using this, guys. When I say Chiefs and Packers for the Super Bowl, 100 million people are going to watch that. Those are small market teams. Adam Silver thinks that the commissioner of the NBA, that guy thinks that he's in the same room with Roger Goodell in the NFL. Well, it's good for small. No, it ain't. Not for you, it ain't. For the NFL, it doesn't matter. How great is that when you're the NFL? When the smallest market in North American sports, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Okay, Green Bay, Wisconsin, if you put them in a Super Bowl, you'd get 100 million people tuning in to watch the NFL. There lays the difference in sports. Why do you think Major League Baseball wants Yankees and Dodgers? Hey, here's something to keep an eye on, too. Next time you're thumbing around the radio dial or your Sirius dial, watch what the updates are littered with and what they start with. Mets, Dodgers, Yankees, Angels, Why? Because they think that's where the sports fan lives. The sports fans live in Middle America, Philly, Baltimore, Buffalo. You know, this is one of my favorite handles here. Okay. All right, look at this. What up, JAKIB Nation? Big Sills salute. Thank you, Ben. Over. You see what LJ had some massive great takes yesterday. Let's see if we stay on the same page. Bro was so proud too. Sills, bro. I came to see you and shook your hand. Sills was like, who the fuck was that? I mean, dude, seriously, your brother must be handling your handle, man, or something. I don't know what the hell happened. That was pretty good stuff. By the way, LJ was on his L game. He was on his A game yesterday. This guy was killing it. Okay? Killing it, man. Had a great day yesterday, bro. You were killing it. Almost every single one of your takes was awesome. Just great stuff here, man. Yeah, there lies the difference between the sports. You gave me Packers and Chiefs in the Super Bowl, two small markets. I'm watching it, and everybody else in America and everybody else in North America is watching it. Pacers and Thunder. I don't know. Is Katie still play there? Oh, no, wait. He hasn't been there in a while. Is Westbrook still play? Oh, no, he hadn't been. Is Harden still? Oh, no. He hadn't been there in a while. They got a great fan base, Oklahoma City. Okay, I mean, they had a great fan base, but there lies the difference in sports. All right, guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Super chats go to the top. You know, I'm going to start this thing off, and I want people to let me throw this at you here. You know, yesterday we're kind of kidding a little bit about Barkley's retirement, or him talking about it a little bit. So let me throw this at you here. Saquon Barkley had 671 carries in his 3 years at Penn State. 671 carries. And in his 7 years and 3 knee injuries later, he's got a total of 2,217 carries in 130 games. Last 2 years, he's rushed the ball for 600 carries. Are you concerned about him being on a pitch count? 2,200 carries in 10 years and 3 knee injuries. How do you feel about that? And he's 27. 3 knee injuries and 2,200 carries. You think that's a lot? And last year, over 400 carries, counting the playoffs. Is that a lot? Guys keep telling me freaking nature. It's not that the guy's not a freaking nature. The NFL's a rough game. That's a lot of carries for a running back, especially in today's NFL. 2,217 carries in 130 games combined. Between college, he had 40 games in college, and he had 90 games, not counting the postseason, in National Football League. Okay. I heard something this morning. Xander says that a 27-year-old kid's going to be in his prime. I don't think a running back's in his prime at 27. Now, here's what could extend that prime. I don't think he's out of his prime. I think he's in the back end of his prime. But will extend it will be the greatest O-line in pro football. Saquon Barkley's not going to be a freak of nature to extend his. And like LJ said, 27 to 30 is when you start seeing downtime and downturns in a career. Well, what you're going to see with Saquon Barkley here is I think what you're going to get is you're going to get another good performance this year, great performance this year, because the O-line is going to extend his career. Do we not agree with one thing here? What extended John Elway's career? Terrell Davis. Was it that John Elway was getting better as he was getting older? This guy was getting better and more consistent because why? Well, because Terrell Davis and they started running the football. Actually, if you think about it, the things that they did in Denver with John Elway late in his career are some of the things that they're doing with Jalen Hurts right now. You know, the running game became so proficient. I said it last year at the beginning of the year. Saquon Barkley had such a great year, he changed the mentality of Howie Roseman and how you pay running backs, and he changed the direction of the entire offensive football team because they went from trying to build a passing attack to building a running attack. And what they found out in the process, most teams are not prepared for the Eagle attack. Think about what you guys have done. You fell into this because you were not building your football team this way. Okay? You were building it like every other team in the league. You fell into this. And we were talking about the offense evolving. You know what you did at the end of the day? You started looking down at the schedule, and I pointed it out, even this year's teams. The majority of the teams this year you're going to play are terrible against the run. Bobby, this is a great take here. Absolutely. Seals, this is more of a question for Xander. Who were the DTs for Alabama last year that could be the reason why Campbell had injuries? No. It's the physicality that defensive style of play they played down in Alabama. Hey, sometimes guys just get banged up. Okay? They had a good defensive football team a year ago, Alabama. They've always had good front four guys. Well, I could make this comment. How come Nolan Smith and Nakobe Dean were banged up when they got to the Eagles? They had Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis down there. What was George's problem? They came to you injured. Okay? This guy don't play DT. This guy plays OG. So, I mean, right? To me, again, I mean, you can ask yourself, well, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis were there, and you guys signed two guys that were banged up. That's the SEC. That's right, Kimberly. It's the Southeastern Conference. 1328 yards before contact on the 2005-09 yards ran. That's the O-line. It's a great number. That's the point. I agree with LJ. You start to see a downside and a sliding. Now, unless you're Adrian Peterson or you're Derrick Henry or guys like that, those guys are just freaks. You know, those guys are just freaks. But he's got the benefit of having a quarterback that runs the ball, and he also has the benefit of the best O-line in football. Something to be said about that. Hit the like button, guys. Supers go to the top. Thank you. By the way, your supers have been great. Picked up big time. Still's not concerned about the pitch count. If they are smart with Barkley's touches, we'll be fine. In the Giants game last year, they could have piled on touches, but they let the kids sit. And they let the others eat. Got it. It's true. Okay? One more ring. Barkley's a Hall of Famer. Not close. He doesn't have the yards right now. Again, he doesn't. Money, you don't like it. He doesn't have the numbers. You get into the Hall of Fame with numbers. Emmitt Smith has both. All-time leading rusher, and he's got 3 Super Bowl rings and an MVP. He's the most accomplished running back in pro football history. Okay? Here's this. Terrell Davis left the game because he was injured, not because he wanted to. It's a good comparison, though. But again, I mean, Terrell Davis's numbers. Terrell Davis was a 2,000-yard rusher. Let's take a look at that. Can you compare them? Like, how about this? If Barkley were to retire right now, he's not going to the Hall of Fame. So Terrell Davis's numbers are 7,607 and 169 catches. 3-time Pro Bowler. He's on the All-Decade team, and he's a Hall of Famer. Is Terrell Davis a better player than Saquon Barkley? That's a really good comp. I'm going to be fair here with this. Now, Terrell left the game because he was injured. And if he left the game right now, I think they're around the same, right? I think if I'm not mistaken, let me take a look at all-time leading rushers. This is a fair comp there, dude. You're right. Barkley and Terrell Davis. Let's see. Barkley's been injured a couple times, so you could put that in plus shitty New York. All-time leading rushers. Say he puts up another 1,400 yards this season. Let me add this up here. It's a great take, LJ. Let's see where he is on the list right now. I think he's down in the 80s. He's 65th right now. And Barkley's had 7,216 yards. Not counting the playoffs. Plus, his playoffs are going to help him. He puts another 1,400 this year. Say he retired at the end of the year like he was talking. That's 8,600 yards. Would that put him ahead? It would put him ahead of Terrell Davis. Terrell Davis has 7,607. Is Terrell Davis a better running back than Saquon Barkley? And here, I would put this in here too. Terrell Davis had Alex Gibb, one of the greatest offensive line coaches of all time. This is a great debate. Still's Terrell Davis, man. You know, I mean, this guy was a great ball player, but is Barkley better? You can make the argument Barkley's better. More catches. I don't think the touchdowns are in the same room. Barkley has Stoutland. Davis had Alex Gibb. Barkley had Elway. That's a better player than Hurts, but Hurts today and Elway then, Hurts might have been a better ball player than John Elway then. Because John Elway was 37-38 when they won. If Barkley were to retire now, you could make the conversation. Sills gets another 1,600 yards, and he ends up with 10K. Will that be enough to get him in with one ring? Is he better than Terrell Davis? I think they're comparable. I think they are comparable. Eddie George, a great football player. It's a great football player. You know, I'm going to do some more on that. Like when I see Terrell, when I watch Barkley play, and I watched him play last year, every single time that guy touched the ball, I thought he was scoring. When I watched Terrell Davis play, every single time he touched the ball, I thought he was scoring. Are they the same player? Yeah. They are the same player. And if that's the case, Terrell Davis is in the Hall of Fame. You might have changed my opinion on this. You might have changed my opinion, LJ. Seals, the two things that put TD over the top were 2 Super Bowls. And he was the missing piece for Elway. Yeah, People forget Elway was like 2-3 in Super Bowls. He lost 3 of them handily. Okay? Handily. This will be here. But see, I'll come back at you with this, LJ. Well, Derrick Henry won't have any rings. And Derrick Henry was on a shitty Tennessee team. And he elevated them himself. He carried that football team across the finish line to being a contender and at least got to an AFC title with Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback. And Derrick Henry has been more consistent, even though he didn't get hurt himself. He's a better player. Derrick Henry is a better ball player than Saquon Barkley. If he gets 1,300 yards this year, I think it is, he's 5th all-time in rushing. I think Derrick Henry's a first ballot too. Maybe it would be Barkley would be like a 3rd ballot guy, but he'd get in maybe. I think because of the comparison of what LJ said, still Terrell Davis and Barkley, Saquon had the greatest regular season and postseason rushing record in the history of the sport. He puts up he's an offensive player of the year. Does he need another Super Bowl or another Super Bowl run? Maybe. Remember, here's how I quantified it last year between Henry and Saquon. Saquon had a better year. He's not had a better career. And both guys were on shitty teams. Okay, both guys run totally shitty teams. Was he a rookie of the year? Let me double check that. Let me see Barkley's. I don't remember if Saquon was a rookie of the year. I don't remember if he was. New York just absolutely hose jobbed the guy. I didn't realize he was 6 feet. Let's see. Offensive player of the year, offensive rookie of the year in 18. 3-time Pro Bowler, NFL rushing leader, Burt Bell Award. That's an MVP award. He was on the all-rookie team. He won the Paul Hornung Award in 17. I believe that's in college. He was the Big Ten's most valuable player. I will be definitely voting for that guy for the College Football Hall of Fame. I mean, if you put him on the ballot for the College Football Hall of Fame, I'd consider him. Some pretty good stuff there. 2-time first team Big Ten. I don't think he made that's it. He can't go into the Hall of Fame. He can't be a college. Oh, wait, he consensus All-American. He can. In 2017. I could put him in. That's the requirement. You have to be on a established All-American team, and you can go into the college football. Joe Montana and Tom Brady can't go into the Hall of Fame for some stupid-ass reason, and both won national titles or were on national title teams. When I see Derrick Henry, I see a little bit of Earl Campbell. Yes. Derrick Henry is the best back since Adrian Peterson. He's the best back. All right. That's a lot of carries. And once again, I think in the first half of the season, I think that conversation is going to be interesting to see how they carry themselves when it comes to how they handle Saquon Barkley. 2,217 carries is an awful lot. And are you worried about him? He breaks down. You're in a world of shit. I have to have that guy. But at the end of the day, I don't want to sit there and be cautious with the guy. You're cautious. That's how you get hurt. All right. I'm going to go down a lane here. And believe it or not, I'm going to be positive. I thought about something with the Eagles. Hit the like button, guys. Help me out here. So let me look at the glass half full. Let me look at the glass half full with the Eagles. is it possible that the injuries you have to Nakobe and the injuries you have to Jihad Campbell, could that be a good thing? Follow me here. How do you create depth? Reps, opportunities. What is the best way to create depth? Playing the younger players. Can this be a silver lining? You're going to be able to give Jeremiah Trotter Jr. more reps during the exhibition season. You're going to be able to find out if Munden can play. You're going to be able to find out if another linebacker can step in and play. Having Jihad Campbell out, dude, that guy's making the ball team. He's not going to make the ball team, right? So with those injuries, I'm not saying that's what you want to go into a season with a banged-up inside linebacker and your first-round draft choice not available to you until late August. That's not what I'm saying here. But what I'm saying, don't you think that this is like what is it here? Like Kyle said, this is like a blessing in disguise here in a way. You would never find out how good Jeremiah Trotter's going to be if you had Nakobe and Campbell. They would be getting scout team reps. Now, you got to start preparing that kid for the opener against the Cowboys. So maybe you get to start letting some of the younger players see if they can play. And who knows, at the end of the day, maybe the kid from Georgia or someone else steps in and you create depth. And when Nakobe comes back and then Campbell comes back, it's like adding a free agent. Holy shit, you add that guy in? How do you know you don't make the best linebacking room in the entire NFL with that work and that kind of approach? See, to me, I don't think you can look at it where it's gloom and doom. I think this is the land of opportunity here. Zach Bond took opportunity a year ago. I was thinking about that. Everyone, and even the Eagles, because obviously look at the money that they gave Devin White last year. They gave Devin White that money with the approach that he was going to be the inside starting linebacker next to Nakobe Dean, not Zach Bond. Well, that guy didn't pan out. They gave him a shitload of reps. All of a sudden, Vic went, yeah, he ain't it. In that process, Vic found the combination out. One thing that I am very excited about with Vic Fangio and what he's doing, you know what that is? This guy, as I said yesterday, is a problem solver. He's going to look at the dudes he has available, knowing full well he's got two dudes potentially that can come in and play for him. Hey, man, this might be a blessing in disguise. This totally might be a blessing in disguise, where you have the ability to get reps for younger dudes. Like Sidney Brown. Here's for me, when I look at the Eagles, and I'll say it, and I'll be as upfront as I possibly can be here. Let me go over here. Okay? Let me go over here. And let me take a look at this. And let me go down the roster or the depth chart of the Eagles here. I thought about this last night. Shit, man. How do players get opportunities? And then how do you create depth? Well, reps. I'm not really going to even look at the offensive side of the ball because I don't care about that side. That's not my concern whether or not you're going to be a champion or not. If you're going to be a champion, this is going to come on the defensive side like it did a year ago. Moro Jomo, I kind of have an idea who he is. I know his strengths and weaknesses. Ty Robinson, you got a lot of people, Jalen Carter, everybody talking high praise. I still don't know who the fuck he is. And nor does Vic. till you see actual action. Everybody looks good in helmets and shorts. If all these guys were trying out in OTAs for flag football and that new flag football league they're going to bring into the NFL, great conversation. Until otherwise noticed, don't talk to me about flag football, guys, because that's what you're playing right now. You know that guy that posts all those stats for Jalen Hurts during flag football? That's what it is. Nothing they're doing right now will resemble a football game other than flag football. You understand? It's flag football with helmets. Nobody gets hit. Nobody gets tackled. Nobody gets put on their head. Nobody gets rushed when you're in the pocket. It's flag football with helmets. Okay? Until you get on the field. Hit the like button, guys. Supers go to the top. Thank you, guys. So we need to see what we have with later round kids and undrafted. Yeah, no, I mean, dude, opportunity is there for the Eagles guys that are on this roster to make the club. I mean, there's two teams that the Eagles have. They have a practice roster. They have the 53. 53 are obviously what you go to work with on Sundays. The 71 total is what you choose from, hoping that you have enough dudes to get you to February. Thoughts on Terry McLaurin, Madden, DC? I saw that. We'll get to that. I got that here. Thank you. Leon, I'll make sure I get to that. Let me write that down. All supers, like I said, I'll address. Leon, you know that I will. McLaurin, Terry McLaurin. I like Terry McLaurin, man. He's a good football player. He's not washed. He was injured a year ago. Like Saquon was injured 2 years ago in New York. It's a stupid comment. Christian McCaffrey's not washed. Christian McCaffrey was injured. It happens. By the way, Christian McCaffrey's had a better career than Saquon. Just so we're keeping things fair here. Okay? He's had a better career. He's been more versatile. And he's been playing in shitty teams too. That guy is a good football player. Hence the fact he's the second highest paid running back, third now, in pro football. Carried that Carolina team. 100 catches. 1,500 yards. How many guys do you know that ever did that in pro football history? That's got nothing to do with it. One. That has nothing to do with who's better. Nothing. Zero. Super Bowls have nothing to do with who's a better ball player. Okay, nothing. Troy Aikman, because he has three, is not better than Dan Marino. That's not true. Dude, when you're talking about teams and you're talking about players, it's two different conversations. I didn't say they weren't. I said he's had a better career. Okay? Bro, Christian McCaffrey's had a better career than Saquon Barkley. Hands down. Nobody cares about that. When you talk about who was a better ball player, when you're standing there to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, how great were you on the field is the distinction. You can't even say Hurts was the best player on the field on his own championship team. How can you be considered for that distinction of a gold jacket when you weren't even the best player in your own huddle? You were like the fifth. Okay, you're right. He was better than Barkley last year. Okay, you can. Well, dude, that means nothing when you're talking who's a better ball player. Nothing. Zero. Zero. I think these injuries are going to be beneficial to the Eagles this year because he's going to be able to create depth. Secondary sells his chemistry. Secondary wins Super Bowls. Absolutely. That's my biggest concern. Okay, that'll be my concern. Okay, Jalen was the best player in the huddle that day. Dexter Jackson was the best player in the defensive huddle the day the Bucs won the Super Bowl. Yeah, Nick Foles was the best player in the huddle when they won the Super Bowl in 2017. Absolutely true. That don't mean you were the best player in your huddle, period. When you're talking about how you look at Super Bowl MVPs and how you look at great players, it's two different conversations. Players don't look at it that way, man. When they vote on the best players in the game, they don't look who's got the most Super Bowl rings. They look who has the biggest impact on a football team. Last year, they picked Tyreek Hill. Is it true Washington doesn't want to pay Terry McLaurin? If so, that's dumb. He's the best weapon, not Debo. Schefter said there's been no progress. Okay, since you guys have brought that up, I'll bring it up. Washington has had shitty quarterbacks the entire time. Here's my problem with Terry McLaurin. I think Terry McLaurin is a really great player. Would I put him in the upper echelon wide receivers in pro football? Like when I think of the best receivers in the game, is he in the conversation? I think he's right there. But I don't know he's one of the top three. Is he better than Jamar Chase, AJ, them guys? I don't think so. And how many games have we seen Terry McLaurin not show up in that they needed him to play big like the Eagle games? Dude, that guy was Casper the Ghost in some of those games versus Philly. He was like not there. I mean, if you're going to be big pay guy, you got to be big play guy. AJ, absolutely, Terry McLaurin's a top 10 guy. But if I'm going to pay you big, you better play big. And I mean all the time. You can't get shut down by a rookie. Like, for me, Terry McLaurin, would I pay him 30? That sounds right. Would I pay him 38? No way. He ain't the best player in the game. Is he better than CD? No. Is he better than Jamar? No. Is he better than AJ? No. Okay, then where are we going here? Is he better than Amon St. Brown? I don't think so. Okay? I mean, right? Get this. Tom Brady's the all-time leading passer in pro football history. On top of being a champion. He's Emmitt Smith of quarterbacks. Yes. It's Emmitt and everyone, and it's Tom and everyone. Two different dudes. One guy's got 7 rings, the other guy's got 3 and an MVP. And he's the all-time leading rusher. Brady and Emmitt are anomalies. I mean, okay. Let's see here. I don't believe Debo's washed. I think Debo Samuel will be a great number 2 in Washington. A great number 2. Is he washed as a 1? Probably. But then again, you have to understand, Cliff Kingsbury is going to utilize that guy. He is a great coordinator. I like Washington. All right. So I want to go here. And let me go here with, I want to show you something here. What do you think and how do you think the offense is going to roll this coming season? How many people think 95% of what the Eagles did a year ago is going to stay intact under Kevin Patullo? How many people believe that's going to stay intact? How many people believe this? That why would the Eagles change? Or will they try to change? Depends on Jalen. Jalen's a non-factor in this conversation. Okay? I've already seen the last 2 years when they try to up the volume in passes. I saw it the first 4 games, and I saw it all of 23. People just want to erase that. He was the turnover machine all the way from the middle of the 2003 season all the way through to the bye of this past year. He was a turnover machine. He had 28 turnovers in like 20 games, counting fumbles. But how much of this offense is going to stay intact? 85%? See, I'm not going to have that debate with people anymore. Well, they could have did. That's not true. Because as we said, as that thing kept evolving last year, and the running game kept continuing to improve, and the players wanted to run the ball, the players and the coaches all decided, we're not changing anything here. Okay? Sills, would you go more play action offense? Man, I like that take. Yeah, because I've got to worry. Does Barkley free up the passing game with play action? That means Hurts more under center. Okay? This is a great take also. You want to improve the offense? Maybe what you do is you give Hurts more carries and take the load off of Saquon Barkley. Jalen Hurts is the passer who he's going to, setting protections and learning that now in his 5th year in the NFL. Actually, let's see, 4 years in college, 5 years in the 9, for the first time in 10 years, he's setting protections. Okay. And he'll get better. All right. He'll probably get better at it. But the offense, why would you want him to get better, more volume of passes, when that's not how you're winning more ball games? You're contradicting yourselves. I want Jalen to get better. How? By passing? No, thank you. As long as Saquon Barkley is in that huddle, I don't want Hurts to increase the volume of passing. I don't. Why would I? That's not. Once again, guys, with Jalen Hurts on the field and them running the ball, how many games did they lose with that philosophy in the regular season last year from the bye on? What was that record? Does anyone know? With Hurts for a full game, not counting Washington, what were they on the field with the way that they approached last year? Does anybody know? Kyle says they were undefeated. Is that true? Were the Eagles unbeaten last year from the bye on when Hurts played all 4 quarters? Were they unbeaten? Okay, they were undefeated. Why in the fuck am I going to sit there and increase the volume of passes and not increase the rushes for Hurts and RPOs? How does that make sense? Help me out on that. Help me out on that. But then you shit on his numbers. I shit on his numbers because he's not a prolific passer. I don't shit on the man. I put him in my top 5 now. Yes, I shit on his numbers because he's not that guy. I got him as a top 5 player. I told all of you this. DC. that I will not take that guy out of my top 5 because of his resume. Whether I like it or not. Okay? Whether I like it or not. He's in the top 5. He's the most accomplished quarterback in the NFC right now. And I'm not going to make you feel good about yourself with that. You can't have it both ways. Yes, you can. I don't think he's one of the better pocket quarterbacks in pro football. But do I do think that he's a great decision maker? Yeah. Do I think that the guy is perfect for that team style of play? Yeah. That's what I think of Hurts. I mean, is he exceptional at that? Absolutely. He's one of the very few guys. Is he smarter than Lamar in decision-making? Yes. I don't see him like you. And really, no one else does too. But when it comes to that style of play, once again, by the way, I don't want this to be about fucking Hurts. I'm talking about the approach of the offense. Okay? How are they going to go forward? Why in the world, if you were undefeated? Now, I dig this. I love this comment here, Roland. When they got high tempo, I think it was the Washington game. Maybe it wasn't the Washington game. Maybe it was Baltimore. They started going up tempo, and that started putting people on their heels. Okay? Dude, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts. Thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it, Philly. I'm not having a debate. When everybody that comes on this program says Joe Burrow is a one-of guy, whatever, fucking, that's a stupid take. I'm not debating that. Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts. Really? Okay. Jalen Hurts is a field general. By the way, though, thank you for the super. I am not going to continue this conversation with people. Every single guy in this is the last time I'm saying this to this dickhead here. Every single player in pro football is paid on how good you are, not how good the team is. Look at the top 10 guys. You're not paid on how good your team is. You're paid on how good you are. Plain and simple. If your team is a great team, you're not paid on that. You're not. You're paid on what people look at you and evaluate you as. Joe Burrow is the best passer since Brady. There's no debating it. He is the best pocket passer since Tom Brady. End of story. No debate. Here, I'll say this about Dak. Dak Prescott is a really good football player. He does so many fabulous things. What's the one thing he can't get out of his way? You know what that is? He can't get out of his way because the organization fails him. And he fails them because he's asked to carry the team. The beautiful thing that many of you think is a rip is not. Hurts doesn't have to carry his team. Hurts has to be efficient, not be dumb, and not turn the ball over. That's not easier said done. You know, sometimes the most common things are the most difficult things to execute. Okay? I mean, that's at the end of the day, he is so great. There's very few people, folks, that have had an offense tailored around somebody to his deficiencies. Do you understand that? The Eagles have tailored a championship team around his deficiencies to excel with the things he does great. That is an A+ for the organization. It's not a rip. You know how many organizations can't do that? Name them. There's probably 30 teams that can't do the things the Eagles do. What's the one thing that Patrick Mahomes struggles with that the Kansas City Chiefs have yet to address? his ability to keep a running game going. Pacheco, he's a fine player. What do you think that football team would look like if they had Derrick Henry? Kansas City. Shit, I don't need any receivers. Give me Derrick Henry and not Travis Swift. Do you know how hard it is to build a football team around what players don't do well? Adding great receivers, adding a great O-line. That O-line is the heartbeat of the team. It is the heartbeat of the team. I would run this offense the same how Dallas ran their offense in the 90s. Run first, second down and third down, absolutely. Michael Irvin wasn't a deep threat. Michael Irvin was a third down possession wideout, Kyle. Absolutely. I'm gonna get to where I'm going with this offense and the approach. See, with the offense this season, you stay really close to what they did a year ago. But Barkley's retirement comment should force the scheme to become more balanced and long-term stability. Hell no. When I heard Barkley talking about retirement, I'm going to fucking run him more. What am I saving him for? What? His retirement parade? Run this guy until this guy breaks down, until this guy doesn't want to do it anymore. By the way, he might run himself into Canton, like LJ said. Get this. Hurts hasn't hit his peak yet? Yeah, he has. He hit it last year. How do you keep telling me Hurts hasn't hit his peak yet when they took the ball out of his hands? Hit his peak? That's not what they thought of him. Well, the game evolved more, and you had a historic running season, and you had a really great, well, you usually say that shit to quarterbacks. Guys have, what about taking the ball out of Jaden Daniels' hands? You think they're talking about taking the ball out of Jaden Daniels' hands in Washington? It's a stupid comment. Yeah, I saw this. Bateman just got $36 million from Baltimore. Saw that, Mikey. That's a good salary for them. Baltimore does a nice job, too. Jalen Hurts is an elite quarterback when it comes to production. Wins, accolades since 21. People just choose to look the other way. That's why I got him in the top 5. He's a great decision maker when he limits the turnovers. Okay? Since 2021, 6 in total yards. Of course, run game. 2nd in touchdowns, of course, the run game. Dude, he's got a better chance of leading the league in rushing touchdowns than he does in passing touchdowns. He's a one-dimensional guy. The wins are a team thing. That's more on the old line there. But I appreciate that, Rashid, on the, again, this is not where I'm going. Here's where I'm going. So something interesting came out. Now, look, how many people in here play fantasy football? How many people in here play fantasy football? I'm not really a fantasy guy. I don't really know a lot about it. How many people play fantasy football? Okay, D says I'm addicted. Dude, no indictment. If you play it, I know a lot of people do, and they love it, and it's really cool to keep people engaged. Cosmo says I do. Okay, all right. Guys, not where I'm going here. I do. CJ goes, I do. I love it. All right. Again, here, Hurts will dominate this season and win it all again. Hurts didn't dominate last year. Here, stop with that. I'm done with that conversation. I'm not even fucking talking about Jalen Hurts. I'm talking about the approach of 2024 and how you won and how you dominated. Are you going to deviate off that plan? End of story. Yes or no? If you put the ball in that quarterback's hands more, you'll have more turnovers. End of story. He doesn't throw across the middle of the field. End of it. Here's where I'm going. So I wonder, A.J. Brown, you think he's going to be happy with the game plan 2025? especially after this comment. Number one tier wide receivers. Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Malik Neighbors, Nico Collins. There are your top flight wide receivers in pro football heading into 2025. Tiering the best wide receivers in football. I'll go through all the tiers here. By the way, this ain't me. All right? This ain't me. Jamar Chase, number 1. CeeDee Lamb, number 2. Malik Neighbors, number 3. Nico Collins, number 4. Those are your top 4-tier wide receivers. Heading into 2025. Not Big Sills' list. Okay? Not who I would like. Here's tier 2. Heading into the 2025. Hey, by the way, really? Go look at it. I posted it. It's on my Twitter page, X account, at Dan Sileo Show. Yeah, right? Go fucking look. I didn't put it up. Here's number 2. Lad McConkey. Justin Jefferson. Drake London. Amon-Ra bro. And Rasheed Rice. That's tier 2. Okay? That's tier 2. Here's tier 3. Oh, by the way, okay? Wide receivers are paid on numbers, dude. Here we go. Tier 3. Puka Nacua. Devontae Adams. Brian Thomas Jr. heading into his second year in Jacksonville. And there he is, A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is a tier 3 wide receiver. You know why? Because he doesn't get the touches, because the offensive game plan is not going to be high volume passing. Do you believe AJ will be happy with this approach? Hey, by the way, if it results in championships, I'm sure he'll be a team guy. Okay? Hey, I didn't make the list. Wasn't me. Tier 4. T. Higgins. Cortland Sutton. Those are the type of dudes that are tier 4. Why? Because of prolific passing games. Okay? That's how people see receivers. They don't see them with championships. AJ Owens incoming. There's no way that guy's going to be happy with the approach. There's no way. Every wide receiver is a diva. And AJ is probably one of the best divas there is when it comes to not causing shit. That team don't win a Super Bowl this year, he'll bitch out loud. Let me ask you this one. If you didn't consummate the deal and win the Super Bowl, how do you think this offseason would have been? Okay? How much do you think this offseason would have been a little bit more hellish with the 30th ranked passing game if you didn't win it? And again, that's an if. I get you. By the way, who's on the cover of fucking Madden? Hurts, AJ, or Barkley? Who do you think they think is going to be the 99 rating? He's not going to get high volume throws. Look, it's not too complicated. Hurts is product of his environment. while the other 4 guys improve their environment. Put Allen on Philly, Hurts on the Bills. Mikey, I don't know if Josh Allen would have the discipline that Jalen Hurts has. Jalen Hurts has to eat a lot of crow to play in that offense. But at the end of the day, he does it willingly because he knows the result. It's winning. I say this to you about a great quarterback. Mikey, if you eat a ton of shit for the betterment of your unit and you do the right thing for your unit, it's not important what your passing yards are or your touchdown throws or your completion percentage. It's important if the end result is a W or L. That is a true statement. That's why he's in my top 5. Because he does that better than any quarterback in pro football. He eats shit. There's still, after he won the MVP award on February 9th, you got people writing from Pro Football Focus that Hurts was the problem with the balance of the offense a year ago. That ain't me talking. Everyone knows that. But I don't think it was a problem. I think that thing evolved into it. Get this. Ben goes, fantasy football means nothing. You're right, but in the end, targets and numbers matter with paychecks and how people perceive you. Look at CeeDee Lamb. You think CeeDee Lamb is the best receiver in pro football? CeeDee Lamb got paid $40 million a year. Why? Because he has high volume throws. He has a lot of yards. He's not paid because he wins Super Bowls. How did CeeDee Lamb make more money than AJ? Well, he has better numbers, more targets. That's my point. You guys think stats don't matter to players. They do. Every time you bring up Trey Hendrickson's name, you bring up 17 sacks. You know what he got for that? Get this. See this? Watch this. Here's another fucking L take. A.J. Brown's been on 2 fucking NFC title teams and a Super Bowl champion, and the guy in Dallas makes more. So, A.J. Brown's been to 2 Super Bowls and won one. How does the guy in Dallas make more? Anybody? How does he make more? Do you guys know? Do you think CeeDee's a better player than AJ? No. I don't. But he has more volume of catches, more yards. And are you under the impression wide receivers don't look at those things and complain about targets? Fuck, your tight end complained a year ago. I wish I was involved more in the passing game. Okay? Yeah. Get this. This guy's right. He was so close to Megatron's record, and Hurts was a turnover machine in the process. The Eagles went like this. Fuck that. We're not. A.J. Brown getting his numbers. Barkley getting his numbers is the most important guy, not him. Yeah, get this. This guy just validated what I said. A.J. was having a great year in 23 at the expense of turnovers. That's why I asked the question. Okay. Dude, okay, wait a minute. He folds in the playoffs. AJ's been to 2 conference titles and won them in a Super Bowl, and yet CeeDee makes more. And he folds in the playoffs. Why? More targets, more yards. Only reason, isn't it? Guys, isn't that the only reason CeeDee Lamb makes more money than A.J. Brown? Is because he gets more? No, it's not dumb. Because Jamar Chase just signed a $37 million deal himself. The guy in Minnesota signed a $38 million, $39 million deal. Are those guys better than AJ, who's been more accomplished, been to more conference titles, won a Super Bowl? No, he makes less than them. Why? More targets, more yards. End of story. It is dumb? Yes. Hurts doesn't draw the plays up. You're right, the coaching staff did. Run the ball. And Hurts, like I said, you know what Jalen does? He goes like this. Okay, because we're winning. Hurts doesn't fight it. Least amount of resistance will give me the best formula for success. That's his number one asset as a leader. Hey, fuck, whatever best. That means I throw for 15 yards in a game, whatever. No quarterback. I really believe this, and I'll say it again. I think that quarterback in Philadelphia doesn't have an ego. I think he's really enjoying the accolades that come with being a champion quarterback now. But I don't think that guy, I think that guy is clearly, without a doubt, the most humble leader of a quarterback unit team that is considered a championship team I've ever seen. Quarterbacks don't take the ball out of their hand. You're not going to walk into Joe Burrow's locker and go, hey, Joe, fuck it. We're going to give it to the back because we got to run the ball. Joe Burrow's going to go fucking trade me. That's not what I'm saying. Wasn't he the highest paid? Probably yes. But wait a minute. How are those other guys getting paid without accomplishments of the team? That's not my take. They're paid on targets and numbers. Fantasy football pays them, not winning and losing. That's been my point to you. Are they? Do you really believe Jamar Chase is a better football player than A.J. Brown? I don't. Main reason players get paid is who got paid last, market always rising. That's true, but the guys that get paid are not getting paid on team accomplishments. Justin Jefferson, wait a minute. Ask yourself this. How did Jamar Chase get a raise when the team didn't even make the fucking playoffs? How does he make more money than A.J. Brown when A.J. just won the Super Bowl? Record-setting performance. You see what he just said down here flexing? Record? Wait. Chase, second best receiver on a team that didn't make the playoffs, and he makes more than A.J. And they've barely done anything there. The real reason how we paid A.J. way before CD, that contract, that's how contracts work. CD was the next. That's not my point. What are you paying CD $40 million for? What has he done? You guys bring up MVPs. You guys bring up all this stuff on winning. What in the fuck has CD Lamb done? Does it deserve $40 million? Tell me. Because he got more catches and more targets? It ain't winning. They get bounced in the playoffs. He's the best receiver on Dallas. That's why he got paid. Well, fuck, they've won 4 postseason games in 30 years. Yeah. You guys are under some psychotic notion that, well, the MVP means this or winning means this when we talk about who the best players in the sport are. It's not true. When we throw the ball a lot, the O-line wanted to run. How many times did we hear Lane Johnson saying last year, we had an epiphany? Remember Jordan Mailata saying it too, JD3? When we ran, wide receivers wanted to pass. Great players want the best for them. Jalen navigated to see that. JD3, let me write this down. JD, here's the greatest thing that Jalen Hurts did a year ago. He navigated a championship season like he was the captain on a boat that took it from one side of the Atlantic to the other side of the Atlantic, and he brought the ship home, unlike the Titanic, where many people are captains on the Titanic. That is absolutely true. This guy wasn't Captain Smith. This guy brought the bitch home, and he navigated the boat correctly. He did all the right things. Do you know what doing the right thing was, Jalen? Fuck, feed Barkley. Go ahead. Man, no way with today's NFL ego, with fantasy numbers, how you're paid by numbers. Do you know how hard that is for a wide receiver like AJ to bite the bit like that? He's got to bite the bit like that and go, fuck. Let me tell you how that guy feels. What does Xander say all the time? I want my wide receiver to want the ball. Oh, I see. So he just all of a sudden flipped the switch and said, fuck it. Don't worry. Don't throw me the ball. No, he didn't. He was like this. Fuck, we're winning. Not wishing anything, like wishing for, I'm not saying that. Every championship football player wants to feel that they are the number one centerpiece. I'm telling you, now more that you think back on it. Is it official? Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers? Okay. Let me know the money. Rodgers signed with the Steelers. That's going to make them a ton better. They got a great old line. They got DK Metcalf in the building. I don't get the George Pickens move now that you signed Aaron Rodgers. Why, you don't want the best receiving core. Oh, but that'll help. Again, hey, listen. Mason Rudolph, Will Howard, Aaron Rodgers. I'll take Aaron Rodgers. At least for one deal, 1 year. Okay? Oh, they're going to win, Sue. The Steelers will win. They always win. They won with fucking Mason Rudolph and nobody Russell Wilson. They'll win with Rodgers. Will they win it? No. They won last year. They'll win again. But win what? 500 record again? The standard has changed in Pittsburgh. It's changed. Used to be Super Bowl titles. Isn't it funny? The two teams in the state of Pennsylvania have changed identities. The Philadelphia Eagles chase Lombardi trophies now. The Steelers chase winning seasons when it used to be vice versa. It's not the same. Okay? Yeah, I mean, hey, senor, I guess making sure you're above 500 is a thing now for the Steeler fans. When chasing Lombardi trophies used to be, the gold standard in Pittsburgh. It's not the gold standard in Pittsburgh anymore. And I'll tell you one more thing about this signing, this breaking news here. Aaron Rodgers signing in Pittsburgh is another sign they had no plan. And let me put this here. Let me write this down here. Look how Howie pivoted off of Carson Wentz. Once it was determined he wasn't going to be the future of the team. And they pivoted to Hurts. And they built the team around Hurts. The way I said they did. They built that team to compensate his weaknesses and to accentuate his strengths, running the ball and decision-making. And they are winning. Look how fast it was. Within 18 months, they pivoted. Look at how the Steelers haven't been able to pivot off of Ben Roethlisberger. They never had an exit plan. They've been fumbling around. Okay? They've been fumbling around with Russell Wilson, Kenny Pickett. They never had a plan. Hey, look, one of the things that I got to tell you that is probably one of the greatest things that you've seen in Philadelphia, which is insane, okay? You a year ago went off of Jason Kelsey to Cam Jurgens. My question is going to be, who replaces Gardner Johnson? Who replaces Slay? You're not going to get the same production on what you have on your roster right now. But is it going to be a massive canyon that those guys didn't fill the expectations of replacing them? Or is it going to be kind of close? You're not going to have players replace Slay, Milton, Josh, any of them guys. Maybe even Nakobe for a bit. But is it going to be a massive fall off? Or is it going to be a little bit that you can weather it? Like you did a year ago. You weathered when you lost Jordan Mailata. Dude, when you lost Jordan Mailata last year, I thought that was going to be a problem. It wasn't. Fred stepped in great. When you lost Nakobe in the playoffs, I thought that was going to be an issue. It wasn't. Steelers are the NFL version of blue balls. Dank. Yeah, man. I mean, it's really sad in a way. When you look at the Steelers where they are today, the Pittsburgh Steelers are chasing wins. The Eagles are chasing Super Bowls. Dude, that's the sign of great organizations. You know, I told my Canes guys this the other day. We were doing a Zoom to some of the Hurricane guys. And I asked this question. What's your guys' expectations this year? You know what they told me? Hey, man, we want to have a great year. We want to have a chance to get into the playoff. And, you know, we want to be great on both sides of the ball. And I said, yeah, those are all great. Mario knew because he ducked his head. I said, so you want to make it to the playoffs, and you want to have a really great year, and you want to have a great individual year. And this is what I said to them. Man, I want to be undefeated. I want to be undefeated. I want to not only win every game I'm in, I want to fucking win every second I'm in a game. And that guys, all of a sudden the room got quiet. Mario goes like this. That's what we're missing. That's what we're missing. Yeah, Janer just pointed that. Yeah. Again, in Philadelphia, they're chasing Super Bowls. In Pittsburgh, they're chasing wins. Got this. Steelers not winning nothing. Who said they were? They're going to win games. They always do. That's their standard. But that doesn't mean they're chasing Super Bowls. Doesn't mean it. Are they better than Baltimore and Buffalo? No. Does it make them better at quarterback? Yeah. Mason Rudolph can't get any. That's not that big a. Hey, Sills, does Aaron Rodgers make the Steelers better? Yeah. Who's the other alternative? Will Howard, a rookie, and Mason Rudolph? Am I right? Yeah. How could you not make them better? I mean, Joe Flacco, this is like the geezers at Caesars. It's like one of them old fart boxing matches. When you get Cleveland taking on the Steelers in the North, CBS can promote it, the Geezers at Heinz Field. Joe Flacco, 2 former Super Bowl MVPs. Flacco versus Rodgers. Bring your Geritol and bring maybe an oxygen mask because you got the old dudes. Holy shit. I mean, hey, man, if you want to is this like the retirement league or is this like the retirement division now? The Geezers at Caesars. Get Don King to promote this. Holy shit. You got old man night. Yeah. You know you have a promotion. You know what you have? Old man night. Right? What do I get for old man night? You get a blanket? You get hot cocoa? What else you get? You get false teeth? False teeth night. So yeah. Hey, at Heinz Field and in Cleveland, you get false teeth, you get a wheelchair, you get Geritol, and you get prunes. Prune night. Heated seats. Yeah, you can't forget that shit. Heated seats. The question will be, which old man falls down first? He's going to, hey, you know what the promotion will be? It'll be this. I've fallen and I can't get up. Holy shit. Yeah, you can see the commentators calling this game. Hey, man, I think Joe Flacco fell down. It's taking him a little bit of time to get off the ground. Brady's over there drinking prune juice, and we'll be back here in a minute. And you go right to a spot with Geritol. Yeah, you got bingo night. B12. Put the dot on it. By the way, I remember going to bingo night with my grandma at St. Cecilia's. You'd be hitting Joe Flacco's number, B12. And with the Steelers, you got B12. Bingo. That's at St. Cecilia's. Or over in Portchester. We used to go to St. Mary's used to have my grandma used to have a whole table full of bingo cards. I used to go with her. She used to smoke. My aunt's watching right now. She used to sneak smoking. My grandfather used to look in the window. She's smoking. I'm like, nah, he's not smoking, Yeah, you got free scratch off night. If for every time the Browns for every time the Steelers score a touchdown, you get a scratch off card for $1. Holy cow. Free prune juice. You can see, can you see Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh, man, doing prune juice commercials? No, here's a new one. You ready? So what do you make of this? You got one guy drinking prune juice. You got another guy selling ads for Depends. Hey, man, you have extra leakage? Hey, man, guys my age, hey, you could eat pills too. How you doing? You want rocket fuel? Big Sills has got it for you. That's what we need to do, Big Joe. Rocket fuel. Give me some ED pills. I'm ready to rock. Hey, and by the way, in case I get too excited, I'm going to put my Depends on. Oy vey. Yeah. Oh, my God. Hey, rocket fuel. What do you got? Hey, Viagra. Yeah, you give me some. Hey, you don't want to know why I came to Pittsburgh? Because Viagra's based in Pittsburgh. It's my new sponsor. That and prune juice. God. Oh, but on, man. Geezers and Caesars. Yeah. Hey, these Depends don't have clips. They have the tape thing, You put the tape on it here in case you extra leakage, they say. From what I understand. Yeah. Pacemaker night. Hey, why is Aaron Rodgers on the ground? Are they installing a pacemaker in that guy on the ground? Holy shit. They're putting a pacemaker in that guy. That guy hit him so hard they put a fucking pacemaker in. Right there on the field. Blue light special. Oh, Maron, man. Make sure you bring your boost. You know, the shit that the old folks drink. Sorry, Aunt Betty. You know, the boost. It's like free boost night. Oh, boy. I'm sure that's going to go well with Steeler fans. Terrible towels? You mean the terrible diapers? Oh, man. Joe Flacco versus Aaron Rodgers. Holy shit. It's Kane night. Oh, man. Milk of magnesia. The Eagles are talking about being the youngest. Get this. So the Eagles are talking about being the youngest football team in the NFL defensively. There's like not very many north of 25-year-old guys, right? Shit, man. You look at the Browns. What's the average age? 40? You look at the Steelers. The quarterback is 42. I mean, he's closer to Bradshaw's age. Can you believe it? A 42-year-old quarterback leading the Pittsburgh Steelers and the terrible Depends to the AFC Championship game. What a great storyline that'll be. Look at why is he bulky in the back end of his pants? Depends. He drinks prune juice. Oh, Madon. Yeah. The gate greeters are all going to be in their 70s. This way. You think you're going into an old folks home. Hang on. When Flacco and Rodgers play, you think you're going to a convalescent home. You know, last year, the number one convalescent home in the country was the White House, right? It's like a retirement home or something. Now it's going to be either the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Browns, right? Be like convalescent night. Hey, if you sign up, you get a free stay here. You know, that stadium used to be the progressive place with Baker Mayfield, right? It's like a nursing home night. You get applesauce and you get apple pie. Oh, man. How do you not? Aaron Rodgers. What a stupid plan for your quarterback. You haven't really done anything here. I don't get it. Hit the like button here. Please, all supers go to the top. Terrible wipies. Oh, my God. Holy shit. All right, let me get off the old guy. Let me come back to the new guys. All right. Pittsburgh and Cleveland are converting their fields into a shuffleboard court. Holy cow. Shuffleboard night. Who's playing? Well, who do you think? Steelers and Browns. Yep, got it. Oh, Madon. Oh, man. Holy cow. That would be a great sell for the NFL. Old guy night. Yeah. You know what you're fighting for? False teeth. Hey, did Aaron Rodgers just shit his pants? He did. He's not wearing his Depends. Holy. Hey, like I said, how come everybody in Philadelphia is going, do you think the young guys are going to pan out? You know what they're doing in Cleveland and Pittsburgh now? They're doing, hey, you think the old guy's going to be okay and safe on the field? Hey, I've fallen and I can't get up. Oh, all right. Before I bring Xander up here, let me take a look at that third tier wide receiver list. Here it is right here. Look at this. A.J. Brown's on the third tier. Wow. He's a third tier wideout. Holy shit. I guarantee you, man, he's going to be happy. He is going to be excited about this new 2025. He's going to be excited about this new 2025 offense. less targets, more running. All right. I mean, AJ, can you hear AJ now? Yeah, it's all right, man. Don't throw me any footballs. I'm ready to rock. Xander says it all the time. I want a wide receiver to want the ball. Not in this offense. You better hold yourself here, man. You know, AJ's got to be a man. You got to be a man here. All right. So what do you think Xander's going to say to this when we bring him up here? 671 carries at Penn State. Another 1,546 carries. This is regular season. That's, here, let me see here. Add this, 12. My UM math says 2,217 carries in the regular season. This guy last 2 years has rushed for 600 carries. What do you think you're going to do with that pony this year? You going to ride him hard? Or are you going to monitor him? I heard Jeff Kerr talking that way too. What are you going to do? All right. How could you had is it Cad McConkey? Lad McConkey. Who the fuck is that? Lad McConkey's a better receiver than Drake London. Hell, Madon. Let me bring up, without further ado, the guy who's on Birds 365 with the, I'll tell you, with the one and only John McMullen. Big C. Xander Kraus joins us now here.
What's going on, Big Sills? How you doing, brother?
How you doing, dude? What about the old geezer signing with the Steelers there, man? How you feel about that move?
I don't know. I'm not buying into that. I'm not feeding into that. Let's see. I do think they became a better football team, and the one chance they have at it working is what? They got Mike Tomlin, who's actually a real football coach and a real leader of men and a real alpha dude who's not going to let Aaron Rodgers derail his season like he hasn't let anybody do it in 15 years. So I think that's the one advantage they have this time around. But, yeah, that doesn't really excite me too much if you're Pittsburgh. If you're DK Metcalf, you're happy. You'll probably get the ball a little bit more than you would have with Mason Rudolph.
Yeah. All right. So what do you make? I put this together here, and I use my hurricane map.
What is this fake news list you're talking about?
What do you mean fake news list? This is a list that –
Oh, I got it. Don't worry. I'll pull it up on the screen.
Pull it up there, man.
Look, you know what it is, right? You're aware of what this is, correct?
Yeah, it's fantasy football.
It's fantasy football.
Guys.
Wait a second. We got a fantasy draft. You're telling me you're going to take Nico Collins over A.J. Brown. You're going to take Lad McConkey.
That's not my point. My point is that those are targets that are going to go to these players.
Well, that's
and these are numbers that are going to get these guys paid. Now, I'll ask you the question here. I mean, you mean to tell me, like, when you look at the highest paid guys and you look at this list here, okay, CeeDee Lamb is making $40 million annually. Why? Is he more accomplished than AJ? No. He got paid on targets and numbers. Did he not?
Well, right? He's a Dallas Cowboy. They waited till the last second to pay him, and then they paid him, and they paid him top market money.
Okay, so Jamar Chase is making $38 million. They didn't even make the playoffs. He got a raise. How did he get paid? Numbers, targets.
You're the statistician. This has been proven on the channel time and time again.
No,
this is your nickname on the channel. It's the statistician.
It's paycheck guy.
No, it's statistician.
That's how they get. How did CeeDee Lamb get paid then? $40 million.
AJ Brown's a top 5 paid receiver in the league.
Okay, like I said, and warranted. How are these other?
AJ Brown makes more than Malik Neighbors, Nico Collins, Lad McConkey, Drake London, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Rashee Rice, Puka, Devontae Adams, Brian Thomas, Emeka Ibuka, T. Higgins, Cortland Sutton, Jackson, and Tet McMillan. He makes more than everybody.
How are those other guys in the room with him, though, when they don't have any accomplishments at all?
Because why is Malik Neighbors on the list? Because there's nobody else on his football team to throw the ball to.
Because he makes catches and he gets targets and he gets numbers.
No. He's in New York. He's in New York. So he gets every target because they don't have Saquon and Devontae and Goddard. They have shit all over the place.
You're missing the point. You're totally missing it.
No, I'm not.
They're not getting paid on wins.
Dude, AJ's paid. What are you talking about?
I'm not saying he's not. I'm
what
saying,
are you saying?
how are these other fuckers getting paid and being paid when it's about targets? Right. I made the comment. AJ's been to 2 NFC title games and won. He's won a Super Bowl. How the fuck did a guy like Jamar Chase, who right now is making $40.3 million bucks, how's Justin Jefferson getting $35 million annually a year? It ain't wins.
All right, that's a different pay scale. Say AJ's paid. Who cares? We got the paid receiver and we got the Super Bowl. We're double dipping out here, Billy.
Okay. So hey folks, do you really believe that AJ Brown's going to go into this season sitting there saying that let's go with the same approach in 2025 with lesser numbers and lesser targets? He was 47th in targets. How do you think that's going to roll?
I think that number will go up this year. What was he in 22 and 23? I think he did have a little bit more. I know he had over 100 catches in 22.
Yeah, in 23, he had enormous numbers, and you had higher volume of turnovers because you went to him more. When you ran the ball, which is the formula, like
what are you speculating right now? That AJ's going to throw a tantrum this year?
No, I'm asking you that. You say it all the time. I want my wide receiver to want the ball.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to want the ball. Everybody saw that last year on their way to a Super Bowl. He still wanted the ball. That's perfectly fine. He's already paid. He's gotten damn near 4,000 yards in 3 seasons here in Philly. He's been an all-pro back-to-back seasons. What more does the dude want? I don't understand what you're saying. If you say you're the money guy, well, he's got the money.
I'll tell you exactly
if you're the
what I'm
stat
saying.
guy. He's got 4,000 yards in 3
wide
seasons.
receiver in pro football wants that offense to go through them. That's what I'm saying. We all know they're divas. We all know they want touches. We all know you say it. Every wide receiver I want to get the ball. So you're telling me that this coming season, you think they're going to increase and go away from the plan that they had a year ago that was 1,000% successful by saying, AJ, we're going to up the volume of throws because why?
Well, because it might be dictated by other teams' defenses. There are other people on the field. It's not just do what you want.
Well, last year, nobody could stop what they did.
Well, and that's why AJ didn't get the ball. I think anyone is smart enough to see that, including AJ himself. That's why he was happy with the Super Bowl win and why he, shut up once they got to that point.
If they increase the volume, get away from Barkley and go to trying to, I think you give.
Yeah, but don't you think that the opposing defenses will have some level of dictation on what they do here?
No, because you're not playing against a bunch of good run defensive football teams. 12 of the teams that you are playing are 16 or worse. You're not playing against a bunch of teams this year.
Or last year. Let's see what they are this year.
No, that's fair. That's fair. They could have improved that. I mean, I know that the Rams went out and got that kid, put him in the middle. I know that there were look at what Minnesota did.
Babs is a serial. She is a lie spreader. Xander thinks Neighbors. Where did I say Neighbors sucks? Babs, tell me you'd take Neighbors over AJ Brown. Tell me. Never. Come on, Babs. Tell me it, Babs.
Never.
And I will immediately know that you are an airhead.
Hey, but Barb,
Neighbors over AJ Brown.
But Barb, I guarantee
you,
you,
mind would take that. I could ask 100 New York Giants fans, 90 of them would pick AJ Brown. Come on,
but Barb,
man.
Here's the case, Barb. In 2 years, that guy's going to make $42 million.
And so AJ might be at that point
and
too.
And guess what? Okay, well, wait a minute. Him not doing anything. This guy will be on a 4-win team making 40. I mean, that's what AJ's on a team that's been to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years.
AJ Brown became the highest paid receiver 1 offseason ago. 1 offseason. Sileo is acting like this dude hasn't been paid in 4 years and we're in a contract dispute. Wait, have you seen what's happening to your beloved Washington Commanders? Have you seen Sileo? What's happening to your beloved Tommy?
I'm not talking about AJ. He's fucking making that. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the other stiffs who've done shit that are getting paid. You make it sound like if you go to a Super Bowl and you win, you're going to make all this money. Fuck, you could be on a 4-win team and make money. What? Yeah. Hey, last year, get this.
So AJ's on a 14-win team.
What did CD's Cowboys do last year? He got paid $40 million doing what? Catching footballs from Cooper Rush. That's what he got 40 million for.
So
Catching
we got the
footballs.
So our receiver got the money, got the yards, and
Yeah.
got the bling. And he's
Right.
an all-pro.
And
Sounds
now
like
he's
AJ
gonna
Brown is
get
winning.
And now he'll take lesser targets and lesser numbers because you know why? That's not what Philly does. They run the ball, baby. Get used to it, bitch. You're back in Tennessee blocking.
1,400 yards this year for AJ.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, 1,400 yards. That means 10 turnovers for Hurts then.
Bullshit. He had 1,000 last year, and he missed
Last
3
time
games.
he threw for 500 yards, he had 15 picks. Let's see him
He
do it
missed
again.
3 games last year.
He had 2 years ago when he had
What about
500
22? He had 1,500 yards.
Last
and
year he
22.
had 300 attempts. This guy was the Michigan quarterback that won the national title. He had 381 attempts.
The great Big Sills.
How
will
you
take
doing, baby?
Malik Nader. Wait a second. In all honesty, did you see the catastrophic collapse that's incoming in Washington with the communists? Now Terry McLaurin is crying because he wants his money.
Let me ask you this though:
They're
when
screwed.
you watched the Ricky shut that dude down last year, I mean, are you paying that guy $40 million?
Who, Terry?
Yeah,
No.
me neither.
He's a wide receiver 2. And in Philly, he's a wide receiver 3.
You think Terry McLaurin? You think I'm going to disagree with that. I don't think.
Oh, you take Devontae Smith
I don't
over
think
Terry.
Devontae's better.
Don't lie to yourself to not. You would take
Nobody
Devontae.
on the planet outside of Philly would take Devontae over Terry.
Devontae Smith over Terry?
Hold on. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this here. Let's see what people
Oh my
say
God.
here.
Some of the catches I've seen Devontae Smith make, Terry couldn't
10
dream of making those
wide
catches.
receivers
Oh
in
my
the
God.
National Football League. Let me just take a look at that here.
Oh my God.
2024. Let's see. Devontae's probably like the 15th best receiver in pro football. Let's take a just look at Pro Football Focus, who they got
I'll
here.
stick with Devontae Smith. Sorry.
All right. I think McLaurin's better.
I don't.
I
don't even think it's honestly close.
Oh, it is close. Okay.
I don't think it's close. I really don't. I don't think Terry McLaurin is.
What does he do better than Terry McLaurin?
Are you kidding me? He runs routes better. He catches the ball on the sidelines better. He's got better spatial awareness. He's more physical in the run game. Devontae Smith has better hands. He does everything better than Terry McLaurin. Well, here's the better question. What does Terry McLaurin do better than Devontae?
Okay. He's a number one. He's the number one target on the team. And
that's not talent.
Dude, at the end of the day, when you watch Terry McLaurin's a better player.
I completely
I disagree too. It's all good. Let's see here.
Close.
I don't either, actually.
Yes, you do. You just want to. You don't want to lose. You're Humpty Dumpty. You don't want to be pushed off the wall.
Let's see what Pro Football Focus. They got AJ Brown number 1. They got Jefferson 2. They got Chase number 3. Ahmad St. Brown 4. They got Puka Nacua 5. They got CD 6. They got Nico Collins 7. Mike Evans 9. Terry McLaurin 10. Drake London 11. Malik Neighbors 12.
Oh, don't tell me.
Garrett Wilson 13. T. Higgins 14. Brian Thomas Jacksonville 15. Devontae Adams 16. They got here he is. Devontae Smith 17th. That's what I thought he was, somewhere around there.
No,
that's where he is.
I'm taking him over Terry all day, twice on Sunday.
All right. I got you, man. I know you
got you. I want you to do one thing for me. I don't ask you to do much outside of your 2 to 6. I want you to do one thing for me. I want you to go on YouTube, all right, where we host your show. Go in the search bar and type in Devontae Smith career highlights and watch the way he separates, catches the ball, toe taps, does everything you want a receiver to do.
Guy's not on the field.
If he was in Joe Burrow's offense, they wouldn't even throw the ball to T. Higgins.
Oh my God! If Terry McLaurin was in Cincinnati, he'd have 1,600 yards.
What do you mean? He had Jaden Daniels last year, who you proclaim as the best quarterback in the
NFC title game with him here. Hey, I'll say this to you. Okay, when I see Devontae Smith sometimes on the field and he's not there, I don't notice him. When AJ's not on the field, I notice it. Last year when you guys were winning football games and Smith was out, I didn't even notice he was on the field.
The guy had
how can a guy that's such a great player have goose eggs in games?
I don't know. How do you play? I mean, he played how many games last year did Terry play?
I don't know.
All right, because he had 1,000. He had 14. No. All 17 games, and he had 117 targets and he had 1,096 yards. The guy was the number one with a bunch of stiffs around him and still couldn't outproduce AJ, who missed.
Are you trying to suggest that the Washington Commanders have the same talent level of the Philadelphia Eagles?
Well, no, you are, because I asked you what makes Terry better, and you said he's the number one.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Here's a little assignment for you now.
Okay, let's hear it.
Anybody you ever ask if you think Devontae Smith's a better player than Terry McLaurin, and see what they say. I'll be curious to know.
Yeah, we'll do it.
I got you there. All right.
What? I might post that on my Twitter tonight. We'll make a little poll and see what people vote on. All right, let's see what they do.
Do that. All right. Is there a football team in the NFC that you think can challenge the Philadelphia Eagles? Is there a team that you would go like this, Xander? I'm not saying beat them. I'm saying, who would you put in that conversation where you would go, that team right there is the one team that I think could kind of make some hayways? Again, injuries, player development. We don't know a lot of questions on where some of these players are. Some of them are going to go and play really well. I heard even Jeff Kerr say, if you think that the Makuba kid is going to replace CJ Gardner with that talent, you're nuts. I heard that out of his face. And I think the same thing with Slay on the pivot. So we don't know. They may, though, because we saw Cooper last year and we also saw Q last year. They may, Xander. Is there one team in the NFC that you would go, that's a team that could be a threat to us?
I think the Rams.
The Rams.
There's a couple. I don't think it's just one, but I think the Rams had the best shot. They got better. They lost basically nobody. They've added to their defense more. They built actually more to stop the Philadelphia Eagles style of football by adding a nose tackle and Poona Ford. And then they added, I think Devontae Adams is a significant upgrade over what Cooper Kupp was. I still think Matthew Stafford's one of the best quarterbacks in the game of football. Certainly is one of the best arms in the game of football, if not the best arm in the game of football right now. I think they're the best team. The Lions are right there, but here's my question. Aren't you kind of waiting to see? You lose your center. Yeah. You lose your offensive coordinator. You lose your defensive coordinator. Like, this is the first time, I think, in Dan Campbell's great start to his career as a coach, they're turning Detroit around where it's like, all right, let's see what you're made of now. All right, you lost your coordinators. You got your Hall of Fame center just hung up the cleats. Like, how do you manage? Because the Philadelphia Eagles went to the Super Bowl and had the best O-line in football after their Hall of Fame center retired. I don't think that's happening in Detroit. All right. So I got questions there. And then when it comes to the Washington, I mean, we started this segment talking about the geriatric home with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, no wonder they can't pay Terry McLaurin. They signed a bunch of 30-year-olds, all this big-ass money. I think they take a step back, and they go from 12 wins to 10 or 11 this year, the Commanders. And
that may be anyway. That may be anyway, though, Xander, because they're playing a tougher schedule too.
Right, and I do think they're going to have an issue with these older guys. But outside of that, I don't really see somebody that really, like, how every year there's good teams and there's teams that could be at the top of your conference, but every year there's 4 to 6 Super Bowl contenders. Yeah. Last year, it was the Eagles, the Lions, the Commanders became one late in the year. It was the Bills, it was the Ravens, it was the Chiefs. That was it last year. This year in the AFC, I think it's going to be a lot of the same. I think it's going to be the Bills. I think the Ravens, they might be my pick to go to the Super Bowl this year because I don't think the Chiefs are going to be there as a hurdle. That's really it over in the AFC side, I'd say right now. And then I got the Eagles. I think the Rams are legitimate. I don't really know who else.
I can't. I'm with you. I think it's here's my take. I mean, you lost 2 dudes in the O-line that many people considered in the room, which I don't. I don't think the Lions. I like Penei Sewell, but is that Lions offensive line in the room with the Eagles, even without Becton? Fuck no. I don't see that. Now you lost 2 dudes, a guard and a center. Center, huge position. I would rank them this way, Xander. The left tackle and the center are the 2 most viable positions that you have to have. And you're stout at both. Left tackle and the right tackle and the center. Very rarely do you have shit like that. So you lose your coordinators. You've added and you got health back again in your running game. But man, Detroit, I saw that they're 15%. The Eagles are 20%. I think I saw chances of winning the NFC this year. I would say I'm with you on the Rams. I think they improved their D-line. I think versus the real deal. Okay? I think versus the real deal.
Yep.
Now, have they closed that gap enough? Look, if the gap was this wide, Xander, maybe it's that wide, but it's still a gap. Here, do you agree with this? If you don't catch the Eagles this year, you're not catching them in 26 and 27. If you're going to beat them now because of the transition that they're doing in the secondary and with some of the younger players, do you not agree? If you don't get them now, you're not going to get them in the next 3 years because they're setting the roster up for the next 3 years.
I do think we're going to have some turnover on offense. So, like in the next couple of years. So we'll see. While I answer this question, I'm just going to toss the great Devontae Smith, absolutely mossing the communist with an unbelievable catch. Great catch here by Smitty. Easily
on the field.
Easily a better receiver than Terry McLaurin. Really not close. One of your worst takes of the offseason. You said you were batting Shohei. Shohei missed a 7 out of 10. It's
nobody on the planet outside of Philadelphia Eagle fans would say that he's better than Terry McLaurin. Nobody does that. Nobody says that.
Wow. Look at that one. That's on the 49ers. Wow. Another big.
Every time that guy's not on the field, I don't notice.
From Devontae. This one was my favorite one there. Oh, the back of the end zone versus the Jags last year. That was unbelievable.
Look at those catches.
A toe tapper right there.
Yeah, look at the toe tapper.
Man.
What game was that? Oh, was that the game
can play football?
Was that the game coming off the goose egg game?
That guy can play some football.
Hey,
I've
seen like 3 or 4 goose egg games out of that.
Maybe. I'm still thinking about that catch versus the Holy shit.
What a tremendous
ball. Oh, my goodness. Devontae Smith.
All right. Hey, how many years do you think Barkley does have?
3.
3 and 3 elite?
2 elite. 2 elite.
What kind of year do you think he has this year?
1,500 yards.
Do you think Hurts's numbers increase running the ball?
I think naturally.
Do you think Hurts's numbers increase passing or rushing? Or both?
I think Hurts's passing numbers increase. I think you're going to start to see him slowly dwindle a little bit, maybe 5-10% a year in running. Because if he gets to 30 years old and he relies too much on the legs, I think that's going to probably, and he knows this, he's smart enough to know this. I mean, it's going to hinder how long and how good, how long he can play the position at such a high level. So I think he knows and he really wants to take that next step, as I think he done. I mean, I think he was really good at this last year at the line of scrimmage, but wouldn't surprise me if those rushing attempts continue to go down. I mean, you talked about it yesterday. You saw him sliding all over the place, and somebody in the chat was like, "Oh, we didn't do that before he got paid." I'm like, get down. I don't really want to see Tanner McKee try and lead us to a Super Bowl. So I'm all good with that, but I do think so. I mean, I think they'll go up in the passing area this year. I think maybe a couple hundred more, maybe 3,500, somewhere in that range.
I heard you this morning talking about CJ, and you're not wrong. And I heard Jeff Kerr just blast him too right out of the gate. I heard it, and I'm not. You guys aren't wrong. This guy whining with a tissue, all that shit, and all that. However, do you believe the Eagles, in a way, now that you look at how they're looking at the secondary, do you think there's any way that they look back at that and regret moving off of him because of what you have at safety? And the fact that you now have to move around Cooper so much that now you've kind of created more of a hole between CJ and Slay. Now, I heard Jeff say it. The guys on the team are not going to replace the production. I get this guy's a bitch. He's totally that guy. But, Xander, do you think there's any way they regret moving off the guy just on his skill alone and what they're playing with. How many safeties did they bring in the draft evaluation? That was the number one position, right? They were bringing safeties in left and right and looking for guys. Do you think they looked at it and said, look, I know the guy's a nightmare. He moved off him, but do you think after the fact they go, shit, man, we've created another hole here?
Yeah, I mean, I think so, like, obviously. But I do think, like you just said something a couple minutes ago about the long-term build of the Eagles setting their roster up. I do think that from that perspective, it was the right move. Now, could you argue they got worse for 25? Yeah, and I think you'd probably be right, to be honest. I mean, I like Makuba and all, but to say he's going to do what C.J. Gardner-Johnson did is probably a little unrealistic. It's not impossible, but it's unrealistic for him to do. So I think you got maybe a little worse in 25. But, I mean, look, dude, guy's too big of a headache. I mean, that's the reality. Like, people got, somebody commented yesterday, how dare you say he's a headache, blah, blah, blah. He's a white guy. Would you say he's a headache? I'm like, what? Guy's a fucking clear headache. He's an emotional wreck. He's a white. I don't give a shit what he is. He's a headache. So I think he is a headache, and I don't think he's good enough to be as big of a headache as he is. I mean, look at it. Vic Fangio makes one 8-word comment, one 8-word sentence that comes out of his mouth, and Gardner-Johnson's back throwing a hissy fit. If you're DeMeco Ryans, who I think is a disciplined dude.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder how he's going to approach a guy like CJ who lets everything get in the way of his focus. Lets everything get in the way of his focus.
I think he's a Bama guy, right?
DeMeco is absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, he's a Bama guy. I think he coaches that team a lot like Tomlin, and I'll tell you how that is. Look at Tomlin had Antonio Brown, he had Le'Veon Bell, and he had George Pickens. And those guys were kind of headache guys. Mike Tomlin led him the riot act. And he's like, you fucking do it my way or you don't do it anyway.
Right.
Or you're going to do it somewhere else.
Yeah, but that's also an art. Like, Tomlin was good at that, man. Tomlin kept some people on the rails, and you didn't even know about these people until they left there because he had such a good, handle on the way his locker room worked. Yeah, I don't know. I think DeMeco kind of reminds me of a Mike Vrabel type, maybe a little softer.
Okay, like that guy, yeah.
Like a little softer Mike Vrabel, though, probably not as old school, but that mentality with a little bit more of a player approach. That's kind of how I see DeMeco. But it's gonna be interesting to see how he handles CJ. That's for sure. I mean,
absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. All supers go to the top here. All right, dude. Ty Robinson, Jihad Campbell, or Makuba. Which one do you think has the biggest impact this year on your football team?
I think it's got to be Makuba by default because I think his path to playing time is so much more clear. Now, if Jihad Campbell was healthy, the answer would be Jihad Campbell. If you're going Ty Robinson, Abe, which I knew you would, but my problem with going him for this specific question is if all goes well for Makuba, he's on the field every play. He's every play. If all goes well for Ty Robinson, he's still the third defensive tackle in the rotation, probably the fourth.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, impact this year, it's Makuba or Jihad. And because Jihad might be sidelined for a little bit, I'm going to go Makuba unless obviously he doesn't win the job. Then obviously it turns on its head very quickly.
Not the White Knight. I mean, right? What is the White Gorilla?
Gorilla?
Yeah.
No, I think, look, like I just said, though, that's why I won't answer. I mean, I do think he's a big impact, but you do got Jalen Carter. You do have Jordan Davis. You do have Moro Ujoma. So he's got an uphill battle for playing time.
Do you think
that's Stevie saying Devontae Smith?
Come on, Stevie.
No, that's her. No, Stevie is telling you right now that your Terry McLaurin take was horseshit.
Yeah, in Philly it is. Around the rest of the world, it's not. Yeah. Do you think they want Ty Robinson to beat Moro Ujoma out, put him back in his normal role of being a role guy and being a swing guy? Do you think Xander, of all the guys, and I'm going to say Ty Robinson, because you know why? What if that guy turns out to be a 3-down guy? I think
he's going to be.
I do too.
I think he's going to be. You know what he reminds me of?
Who?
Miami Sileo. I'm not even kidding you.
Let me say what I talked to some folks at Nebraska. And they said that he's got great skill set to play in passing, and he sets the edge fucking great.
Yes.
He never lets his outside shoulder get exposed. He knows how to get down the line of scrimmage. And you know what they said? You're going to be so surprised how good his feet are. And I was like, well, shit, man. How come he went in the 3rd round? And they said it was because he was on a shitty team in Nebraska. Now, I'll tell you this, Andrew. That does play a factor. You're at Texas, Alabama, or you're at Georgia, and you're playing around great players. Sometimes when you're not around great players, the unit drags your ass down. And they said they thought there were a lot of people thought he was a high 2nd-round pick, and he could have went 35.
Yeah.
Somewhere there. But Nebraska hasn't been the black shirts of old. So I said, wow, so you mean to tell me he was over? I mean, that how
Matt Rule's their coach, right? I saw him in Cape May not too long ago. He got a nice big house down here.
Yeah, well, he could thank the pro job that he had. That's NFL money that got him that house.
Money, that's for sure.
I'll tell you that there. But I'm gonna go with this kid Ty Robinson here, man. I'm going to go with him.
I like it. Listen, I love the player. I explained to you why I didn't pick him for your prompt, but I do love the player. I think he's going to have a great season. Jalen Carter speaking highly of the kid already. He's also, you know what I like about him is if you listen to him, I'm not sure if you listen to his first couple pressers, but kid is smart, man. Like he's a smart dude, like real smart. I mean, he's like prepped for life after football and being a doctor or so. I forget what he's going to be, but very smart guy. So I think that bodes well for Vic Fangio's defense because, you know, it relies on athleticism, but it needs you to know your way around the football field. You got to understand coverages, all different types of things in his defense. So pre-med, that's what it is. Thank you, Yale. I think he's real smart. I think it's going to be a good pick.
Now let me ask you this question here. Hey Prince, take a knee, you fucking dick. Don't worry. We'll read all these.
Don't worry, Prince. My dog was no pipsqueak. You couldn't punt my dog across a room, Prince.
Here we go.
Right?
You ready?
My dog was a big boy.
How about this one here? Who do you think won the Bryce Huff trade?
The 49ers.
Really?
Well, it depends what you're asking. The Eagles won.
I'm asking you.
The Eagles won when it's Eagles versus Eagles, if that makes sense. If you do a team versus team in this trade, the 49ers won because the Eagles used them basically to get out of this. And if you don't have that 2 to tango, you can't move on from that. So the Eagles were in a worse spot. So what I mean by Eagles versus Eagles is the Eagles used San Francisco to get out of a contract in a way that benefited both teams, right? But the Eagles lost $9 million. So you're telling me an edge rusher is playing in San Francisco and Philadelphia is paying $9 million of it. I think San Francisco won that trade. But I don't mean it in a way like it was a bad trade for the Eagles. I think it was their only way out, was why I liked the trade when it happened. Does that make sense? Or is that?
Yeah, I'm totally surprised you went down that lane, and you're right. I looked at it like this, and somebody asked me, goes, Sills, I said, isn't it yet to be determined? What if the guy fucking goes there and ends up being a colossal bust? And I still think, we have to wait and see how this plays out, right? I mean, think of this here for a second. Who do you think won the Hassan Reddick trade?
That's the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And originally, Originally, you could have said it was the other way.
Is that Ty Robinson?
Oh, that they used for that pick? No, that pick's 26.
Oh, it's 26.
Remember they pushed it ahead?
So that's yet to be determined too, who they take with that. I think you're right. I think it is 26.
Yeah, it was a 26. I remember it well. It was a 26 for sure.
Yeah, and I thought there was contingency on something. If he played in percentages, it could have been like the 26. And
it was a conditional. I think it could have became a second, but he obviously barely played in New York, so we didn't get that.
So we have to wait and see yet, okay, how this thing plays out with this Huff, because if the Eagles were able to get out of this deal financially, and that kid turns out to be a shitbag out there in San Francisco, then the Eagles win that. But if that guy goes out there and gets 16 sacks and he's a factor on that team, 49ers win it. So, do you think we glazed it too much here on how he got out of this deal because
Yeah, well, remember
money.
the report was wrong originally. Remember how they said it was 15 million in savings this year, and it wasn't really this year. It was kind of pushed across a couple of years. So I think maybe like our original Friday reaction might have been a little bit too much, but overall, again, like I still think the sentiment or the overarching reason of why we said it was a good trade still exists. Of you made a bad move. All right. And you were paying for a guy that wasn't going to contribute to your football team. And instead of just letting it die on the vine and taking up a roster spot and costing the money into the future and some of those things, the owner, to his credit, was willing to shell the $9 million. And Howie, to his credit, was willing to be flexible, find terms that worked for another team, find a way that was a gray area where they could meet basically. And move on from the contract. By the way, we have a lot of contracts coming up. So I think it was good to get him off the books, dude. Like that, all that money off the books, all the dead crap, all the dead cap stuff is all gone. So I think from that perspective, it was a good deal, but probably not as good as like when you're like, whoa, we saved 15 million in you know what I mean? Like we didn't get that out of it. So probably a little bit of an overreaction originally, but overall, still think it was a good trade. Still think I would have made the deal. I'd say that. I mean, not that I'm
I still think the structure of the deal is sensational. I'm not changing that. I think it's still sensational. All right, two last questions before we get to the supers. Please throw the supers up. You guys have been great at the super chats as of late. And also, please hit the like button here. How about this? So have we yet determined, or has John or you or Jeff Kerr or anybody, what exactly is Jihad Campbell's? What's his fucking position? Who is he? Where are they going to land him at? Where to see in 5 years from now? What do you see that guy being? Who is that guy?
He's the Eagles' newest secret weapon.
What's that? A Scud missile? What is it? A new secret weapon?
Are you kidding me? It's a nuke. Are you kidding me? Eagles don't launch Scud missiles. We launch nukes out here.
Oh, that's right. Like Devontae Smith. Smith.
My God, you're not going down that road. This is what I love doing. I love making Sileo come up with a shit take, and then because he wants to be right so bad, he'll triple down on his shit take.
He's not better than that guy.
You just tripled down and called him Devontae Smith, and you even know that was a clown comment.
Devontae's not a stiff. He's not.
Devontae's a fucking stud.
He's a good player. He is. All right. Yeah, he is. So he's an inside linebacker. Is that what he is?
No, he's a joker player. He's a great day. What about Cooper DeJean for the defensive line or for the front seven? That's what I see.
Where does Cooper start the season? Is he starting in the nickel? Does he start in the slot, corner, or does he start in the safety position?
I'm still leaning that they're probably going to keep him in the slot, especially in nickel. But I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. He's a corner or a safety to start the season. We will see what happens there. But do you see what I'm saying with Jihad Campbell? See, look, I said that. And did you see how fast Sileo shifted gears? He's like, I got to get off this topic because this dude is so right. And I can't acknowledge that they have another Swiss Army knife, this time in the front seven of their defense.
Know this, folks.
It's agonizing, isn't it?
No,
it's agonizing.
Guys, remember what Big Sills told you guys about 2 months ago? The Eagles look at players differently than every other organization in football. They don't look at a guy playing, and is he a good pass rusher like a guy like a Micah Parsons? Can you play 3 downs and can you be versatile? That's their definition. That's when a guy like Devontae Smith is on the field and he's not on the field, you don't notice him if he's not on the field. You need to have a guy where you notice who's on the field at all times when he's there, like A.J. Brown. When that guy's not on the field, you know it.
Because you're the statistician.
Not on the field, you know. You don't know it. You don't even know if he's playing.
Because you're the statistician, I have a question for you. Because you are the statistician.
You see, folks, you get paid on how good you are as a player.
All right, I get it. Ready? If Joe Burrow was your quarterback, all right, let's live in fairy tale land. Joe Burrow is your quarterback.
Yes.
All right. You would take, and you have a choice of receiver, Devontae Smith or Terry McLaurin.
Oh, yeah.
You
I'll
would
take
take Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, over him, sure.
Oh, what a bad move.
I would take Terry McLaurin.
What a bad move.
Absolutely.
Devontae Smith has perfect hands, and he gets separation from
I'm not
everybody.
saying he's bad. I am not. I'm saying
All right, so I asked you what Terry does better, and you said he's a 1. That's not what he does
He
better.
takes on the best guys that cover in every game that he plays against. He plays against corner 1. Your boy doesn't. He takes on the second best dude in the room. That's who he takes on.
That's fair. That's not
When you play against the best guy like AJ Brown plays the best guy every Sunday. So does Terry. Takes on the best dude.
I know you wouldn't.
You know what your guy does?
If I hooked you up to a
the third best
you
corner
would not take Terry. I can see it on your face. I know you now, Stills. We've been doing this for 5 years.
No. I love the kid.
You're not. You are sticking to your guns. If I put you on a polygraph, you're taking Smitty.
Oh my God. What are you crazy here? Of course I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking, man.
Nah, dude,
listen, I think Devontae's a really good ball player. Listen to this. Do I think he's better than T. Higgins? I do. I think you're going to sleep on McLaurin.
No, dude, that's why they're not paying him. He's a 2.
Oh, who says they're not gonna?
Let's see what they do.
That's right. Let's see what they do.
They got the geriatric team. They're like 33 average age over there, man.
Hey, that's right. Keep taking on them third best wide corners.
You better hope that this Jaden Daniels kid is always cracked up to be post year 1. We've had a lot of 1 year wonders.
I'm not the only one that thinks he's a great player.
I think he's a great player. I think he's a great player.
All right, Terry. Let's read the supers.
Who you calling, Terry? Call me Smitty. Call me Smitty.
I'll tell you what I did love when he won the Heisman Trophy, Xander, Devontae Smith.
You ain't seen Terry McLaurin win no fucking Heisman, my friend.
Oh, I don't even remember A.J. Brown in fucking college.
Yeah, that's right. He went to Ole Miss. Old shit.
How much throwing of the ball do you think they did down there? Dude, AJ
a couple of years back before they had.
You know what though, dude? Think about it. AJ's been a fucking physical wide receiver since the Southeastern Conference.
AJ, I think AJ is the best receiver in football. I would take AJ Brown. I'm not saying Jamar's not right there and Justin's not right there, but I would take AJ Brown over everybody. Too. I just prefer a physical player, like that. Now, I will say this. It's probably 1A, 1B with Jamar for me because Jamar is very in your face. Like, he is not afraid of any. I love that about him. He's a very go-getter type of receiver. So I'll say 1A, 1B with Jamar.
Hey, how was he at Ole Miss? Do you remember? I mean, what kind
I don't think he did too much. I mean, that was pre-Lane Kiffin when he was there and stuff. That was a while back. That was who was there? Was it Hugh Freeze? Was it?
I think it was Freeze.
Freeze, that's right. Hugh Freeze.
Yeah.
Let me look.
I mean, like, did he ever get a grand there? I don't remember him when he was at Ole Miss.
Wow, he's the all-time leading receiver in Ole Miss history.
I'm sorry. I mean, no disrespect. I didn't.
Ole Miss career leader in receiving yards with 2,984. He's also the career leader in 100-yard receiving games at Ole Miss with 12. Wow. So 2018 Maxwell Award watch list. What's that?
What was his best year?
Let me look at his stats. Probably his junior year.
He had
1,320 yards and 85.
Wow. I don't even know the quarter. I don't even remember the quarterback down there that time. Was it that Kelly's brother? Jim Kelly's his nephew or his brother?
Was it Matt Corral?
Was it?
Oh my God, it might have been Matt Corral. Yo, I got a question for JAKIB Nation. All right, and I don't know how many of you guys were here. You will be proven to be a real JAKIB OG if you remember this person. Does anybody remember the Matt Corral dude that in our chat would come in here every day for months and say, draft Matt Corral? Who remembers that guy? Does anybody remember him? This was 3-4 years ago.
I think he's in the UFL.
Easy money. That's it. That was it.
Easy money.
Where did that guy go? He was the funniest chatter. He disappeared after the draft. Disappeared because Corral dropped to like the third round.
Yeah, he sure did, man. He had Matt Corral there when he had I did 1,300 yards. Now, when he came out, that has to be in the time of Jefferson and them dudes, right? When he came out of college, didn't he come out around the time of Jefferson?
Yeah, I think.
All right, let's get to some more of these supers here, man.
All right. Amwan says, Sills, stop it, Sills, please. Hey, Amwan, that's all we can do today is laugh. We all know Terry's not better than Smith.
Only in Philly is Devontae Smith better than Terry McLaurin. No, nobody on the planet would say
it's just
that.
Not true.
It is true.
Devontae Smith is a superior talent, dude.
You know what?
Superior. You can say Terry's been more productive. Devontae is superior.
And his quarterbacks were Sam Howell in 1 year with Jay.
Well, that's true. That's true. But I mean, Devontae
what do you think Devontae's going to do with Sam fucking Howell?
Again, you talk about talent a lot, and we talk about this with quarterbacks, and it's easy to say Joe Burrow, Josh Allen are more talented quarterbacks than a guy like Jalen Hurts, who went in the second round, didn't have the traits. Same conversation here. Devontae Smith has superior traits.
No, he does
to Terry McLaurin. Yes, he does, dude.
He does.
It's really not close.
Nobody thinks that.
It's really not close.
It's really not. I completely agree.
I don't think it's close. I don't
either. I don't either.
Did Scary Terry break the rookie record against CB1s like Smitty?
CB1 on that 9-8 football team. I remember.
Wait, everybody
matched.
Everybody still said to me. Said to me.
He's like the 20th ranked wide receiver.
Wide receiver one. That's like saying Devontae was the wide receiver one with Jalen Reagor.
He's like the 20th ranked wideout in football right now, 17th.
Because wait, what was our running game again? Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's why the receiver sucked last year.
JD, he didn't suck last year.
Injury, and because
he didn't suck last year.
Guys ran the ball.
He had it. Wait.
I'm sure those numbers will improve this year.
Second. I think if I remember correctly,
I'm sure those numbers will improve.
Devontae Smith had about a 50-yard touchdown in the Super Bowl. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was Devontae. That wasn't Terry because he got walked off the field and gave up.
Keep taking pay cuts, son.
Quinyon Mitchell had an interception in that NFC title game when they were
pay cuts.
When they were going to Terry.
I can promise you, when that pay comes in, he'll be $35 million.
Terry McStiffler. That's what he is now.
$35 million.
Terry McStiffler. JD3 says, I think Vic will have 3 linebacker sets when Dean and Campbell get healthy. Dean will be middle, then Bond Campbell at edge linebacker, and the other off-ball linebacker.
Xander, don't you think what I said earlier? This might be a silver lining, the injuries. Isn't this how you build depth? I mean, Trotter's going to get more reps. The kid from Georgia's going to get more reps. Then when you get Dean and Jihad Campbell back, isn't that like getting free agents? Hell, you might by the end of the day have the best linebacking room in the building.
Maybe.
Because you created more depth by giving opportunity to these other guys.
Yeah, that's true. You mean when everybody gets healthy,
when everyone gets healthy, you created depth with these guys.
Let's see how they do, though. If they fall on their face, it ain't depth, right? But we'll see. All right. Here we go. Scott Squad says, I'm an Eagles fan, but Smitty is overrated. Scott Squad to the corner. To the cuck corner you go. Sit. You're in timeout. Don't make another comment until I tell you can get out. Scott Squad, sit down and shut up, Scott Squad.
Scott, great take, but he's not overrated. Thank you for the super, my friend.
Scott, you shut up. Shh.
Scott, thank you, Scott.
Kyle Kokorski says, the reason I ripped Tomlin so much is because he had Roethlisberger for 15 years, but Cowher for much of his time had QBs like O'Donnell and Stewart, but still won playoff games. He's actually right about this.
Yeah, but again, look at how the Eagles pivoted off of Carson Wentz and how fast they pivoted, and they were able to build a football team around a quarterback. Again, they did the right thing by building around the quarterback, and they have a better team, and it took them 18 months to do it. I mean, the Steelers haven't had an exit plan with Roethlisberger, Xander in 5 years. I mean, Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett, that's not an exit plan.
Sounds like you got to call. Sounds like you got to call up the GM that you know over there and say, "What the fuck are you doing?" But they got Aaron now, so let's see what they do.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, I'm with you. JD3, Joe Krause said on a 2-minute drill when Ty got picked and said the Eagles got their version of Dan Sileo. That's right. I remember that, JD3. Maybe that's where I got that from. Maybe he works out.
Yeah, he will.
Could
He
Big
will.
Sills stop the run?
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Big Sills was tremendous at the run. I get my
Could Big
fucking
Sills
hands on
rush
him.
the passer?
Yeah. Let's
Was
see.
Big Sills violent at the point of attack?
Yeah. Number
Was
one
Big
defense.
Sills fundamental with his feet and his hands?
Tremendous feet.
Ty Robinson is Big Sills Jr.
Yeah, I was a complete ball player, man.
Big
I was just-
Sills reincarnated, baby.
But I was. But one thing, I hope he's not a head case size. I am.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's why when we went to, you're getting all this
man.
pre-med and stuff, Sills. I'm not sure. He might not be Big Sills in that.
Yeah, I hope he's smarter than me,
Prince
man.
Swayze says a large man with a small dog should be examined closely.
And as you know, Prince, don't always judge the dog by the size. You judge the dog by the man and the dog himself, bitch.
The fight. You judge it by the fight in the dog, Sills.
Yeah, you judge it by the fight in the dog, Junior. What the fuck do you know about fighting, Prince?
Prince, I hate
some of the worst takes in the history of man.
Sills, I hate to do it to you, but I might agree with Prince, man. You see these big dudes walking around the block, and they got their dogs. These dogs on the end of the leash. Like, it looks like you could just hold it by the leash.
Dog, man.
I'm not shitting on your dog. I'm just saying, hey, maybe Prince has a point. Now, maybe you're the
Prince has
exception
no
and not
point.
the rule.
I'm gonna name my new dog. I'm gonna name my dog Terry McLaurin.
Oh God,
It's a dog.
Terry. I'll name mine Smitty. Prince says, I believe the snow affected the Rams game significantly. They improved, but before the snow, I watched the game again and it wasn't close.
What do you think? Well, because they.
Well, I mean, it affected both teams.
They're a dome team.
Yeah.
Xander, like you said, dome teams going outside in Philly.
I think he had 300 plus passing yards that
He
game.
did.
I'm not buying that one too much, Prince. Kyle says, could Bucks be a dark horse team? I think close, but I don't think contender. I think playoff team. Yeah, I don't think contender.
Their linebackers, believe it or not, Levante David and Antonio Winfield. Do you know that was one of the worst units? Both of them, they were some of the worst units in pass coverage and also in playing the run in football. They were fourth against the rush, Xander, but they were terrible against the pass. And they've got to improve on that side of the football if they're going to be a contender. I think they win that South. But I don't know if they're going to be in the room with the Rams, Detroit, and Washington.
Sorry, I was having flashbacks of Terry McLaurin getting locked down by Quinyon Mitchell.
I was having flashbacks of goose eggs by Devontae Stiff. I mean,
it was
Smith.
not on my bingo card for your worst take of the offseason to be a love pick for Terry McLaurin. A guy who sincerely underachieved as a wide receiver.
It's only the worst take
yards
in Philly. Do you understand that, folks? Nobody on the planet thinks he's better. Nobody thinks he's better than the guy in Washington.
I'm on the planet. I think he is.
I said outside of Philly.
Stephen Mosteller says, can I get some of what Big Stat Sills is smoking?
Hey, guy, Steven, once again.
Statistician.
Remember this. Statisticians get you paid. How you doing? Direct deposits.
Devontae Smith's paid. Dylan Hurts is paid. Saquon Barkley's paid. Lane Johnson's paid. Jordan Mailata is paid. Landon Dixon's paid. Ken Jurgens is paid.
Those guys all deserve it.
Zach paid.
Hey, those guys all deserve it. Well, how do these other guys on stiff teams end up making $35 million like C?
Question for you. Joshua Uche got 10 sacks. He's making minimum.
Who's that? Who's that?
He's making minimum. Guy had double
trash. He's the guy that takes the mail.
Uche
trash out.
Stats are not everything.
About top flight guys here.
Stats are everything on the National Football Show.
You know what Uche is? Joshua Uche's a hand-me-down bag.
Here we go. Sills, you don't think every team will stack the box, regardless if their run D is good or not? They'd be stupid not to sell it to stop the run 1-versus-1 for AJ.
It won't matter. They tried that shit last year. Kansas City tried that. You're too good in the O-line. You're too good.
Spurger says Pittsburgh and Cleveland are converting their fields into shuffleboard. Wait, add the communist into that because that's the geriatric department too, outside the quarterback.
Xander's praying that the Commanders take a step back. He thinks
I'm not praying for shit. I know they're going to.
Cliff Kingsbury did not leave. They got all their coordinators back and they added.
Pray for shit. I'm not praying for it.
The Eagles won't make steps back because they lost players, but the Commanders will, right? All right.
Scott Squad says Pick a wide receiver, AJ or Smitty. Money not a factor. Well, I didn't say he was better than AJ.
Oh, come, dude. AJ's the best. My opinion, if there's one wide receiver, Xander, I don't know who you would take. If you were to tell me the type of offense I wanted and the guy that I wanted in my offense, believe it or not, I would take this dude right here because he blocks in the run game and he catches. And when he runs that slant, nobody can get that guy down on yards after catch. He is a really good football. Hey, Xander, I'm shocked on how great he's turned out to be since he was.
Remember the homework I gave you.
Yeah, you know the homework.
I'll even send you the link. Bro, I'll even do the searching for you.
I don't need to watch a second guy. I watch ones. I don't break down who's the second best number 2 on the team. I don't do that. I watch guys who are the number 1 dudes. So if you're ever going to give me a homework assignment, make sure you're talking about the best dudes in the huddle, not the second or third best guy in the huddle. Come on now, Junior. You know me better than that. Hey, why don't you break down the best number 2s? I don't think so. I'm going to talk about the best number 1s. Right. Come on, man.
Yeah, you take Terry McLaurin. I'll wipe the floor with your team. Terry McLaurin is not that good.
I know. He's no good. He stinks. This guy had Sam
Brown. If AJ Brown were in Washington, what would Terry
this guy had a stiff and Sam Howell throwing him the ball, and this guy still put up numbers.
Speaking of number 1s, great strategy there, Abe. Speaking of number 1s, where is he ranked amongst the number 1s? Probably bottom of the barrel. Probably bottom of the barrel.
I just gave him to you. PFF has him ranked right now. They just came out the wide receiver list.
I'd take the fucking Panthers number 1.
Smith is 17th, and Terry McLaurin's 10th.
I would take the Tetster McMillan over him, dude. I'm just
fucking guy from Arizona.
I'm just kidding. All right, I'm kidding. All right, let me get out of here. We got Jason Cole coming up.
Texter fucking.
Wait a second. Wait. Scott's going. You're still in timeout, Scott. In 2 years, they're going to try and trade AJ. Yeah, and then Devontae will be the number 1.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out.
All right, Sills. Thank you, brother.
Hey, brother. A lot of fun, man. You guys are killing it on that show. Keep it up, bro. Talk to you soon.
You, see you guys.
You got it. Absolutely great. Yeah, I got to write that down. Hey, you know what? I'm going to ask Jason Cole this question. I'm going to ask him this question here in a second. By the way, make sure you guys get over to Amazon. Paralyzed to Power. Robert Paylor. His book's out there for you guys to read. And I've been doing some homework on this rugby guy. My daughter plays rugby, as you know, and you talk about inspirational. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Hope all's going good with the book. Let me bring my boy Jason Cole in here now. And Jason, let me ask you a question from a national perspective. For you, who would you take and who do you think is a better wide receiver? Terry McLaurin, there's some issues going on in Washington right now with his contract. Or do you think Devontae Smith is a better wide receiver than Terry McLaurin?
McLaurin's a 1. Devontae Smith is like a 2+. Like I think Devontae Smith, if he tried to be in number 1, would have a hard time being that guy. Because he's a little lightweight. Like I mean, that's not good, Jace. What?
He is good.
Oh, he's real good. I mean, and he's got a fair amount of Marvin Harrison to him. He's not quite as gifted off the line as Marvin Harrison. So I'm not trying to say he's a bad player, but I would rather have McLaurin based on, I think, the strength and the ability to get off the line, do certain things. I like McLaurin a little bit better, but I like them both. I mean, I just say this: Smith is in a perfect situation because you've got a beast of a wide receiver on the other side. You got a good tight end, running game. All of this works to help a guy like Smith, who otherwise against normal coverage might have a little bit harder time because of his physical limitations. I mean, he's just not a big guy. He's a really good guy. He's got great hands. I mean, there's everything about Smith is plus, with the exception of overall size, not necessarily height, but just, physical girth, for lack of a better term.
Has there ever been a number 2 wide receiver ever make it to the Hall of Fame outside of John Stallworth?
The 2 outside of Stallworth? Well, I mean, T.O. technically when he started off with Rice, but he became a 1. It's a good question. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm trying to think of like AFL guys, other than Lance Allworth.
Yeah, I mean, I can only think of
Drew,
John.
I'll say this. Depends on how you look at Art Monk.
Okay.
And it sort of depends on how you look at Drew Pearson at a given time. They were sort of like Smith in that, they were mainstays, and guys who got fed a lot. But there were a lot of times in the middle of their career where you'd say other guys on that team were better. Like Tony Hill was probably better than Drew Pearson most of their time together. Most of the time that Art Monk was with either a Gary Clark, or was it Sanders? I'm trying to remember Sanders' name. It wasn't. Yeah, I mean, but I'm trying to remember his first name.
He was. I think Sanders was the old USFL guy too, if I'm not mistaken. They got
I mean, you would argue that those guys were actually better than Monk. Monk was just so consistent throughout his career.
Don't you think Monk was kind of like, a better version of like Michael Irvin and Terrell Owens? I mean, no, a lesser version, I should say, of those guys. Don't you think, like, when you're looking at Art Monk, you look at Michael Irvin, possession, third down guys like that, or modern day, like DeAndre Hopkins, something like that, a third down.
Well, I mean, Irvin was a guy who had explosion to him.
He did.
Right? Like, he could take over games, and if you left him one-on-one with a guy, he's gonna hammer guys. I mean, he was really gonna physically abuse guys. Art Monk was gonna catch the ball because the way that he functioned in their offense, he's a de facto running game. Like, here, let's just flip it out for a 5-yard gain. Art will get it. He'll take it and get 8, 10, 12 yards out of it. But he's sort of he's a quasi running back in the way that we run our offense.
If you were going to pick the best wide receiver tandem in the NFL right now, would you take T. Higgins, Jamar Chase? Would you take AJ Devontae? Would you take? Is there anybody else?
Pretty good.
With the
pretty good argument, but like Jefferson, there are times where Jefferson,
Addison's
just
great.
What?
With Addison, who too also was great up there in Minnesota.
Well, he's great, but there's just times where like Jefferson just can't be guarded. Like he's going to throw the ball up to him and he's going to get it, and it doesn't matter what the opponents do. He's going to get the ball. It's that simple, and you can't stop him. And there's something about that. Jerry Rice was like that. There's just going to be times where the ball's going to him, and there's nothing you can do about it. Jamar Chase is a little bit like that, but I don't think he's quite the same way as Jefferson. So I would put Jefferson I give him a slight nod in this current argument.
All right. Let me ask you this here. Saquon Barkley made a comment about potentially retiring the same way that Barry Sanders did. Barry Sanders, if I'm not mistaken, Jace, when you guys were debating Hall of Fame, Jason, by the way, folks, is one of the 50 Hall of Fame voters. I think he had, in his final season, excuse me, I think he had 1,500 rushing yards. So, I mean, he would have went on to break Walter Payton's all-time rushing record. Barkley made the comment, I may retire. He's got great respect for a guy like Barry Sanders. He may retire. He said this year, next year, maybe 3 years. I don't know. But I'm just going to go out of nowhere. I'm just going to call it. Do you think when you look at Saquon Barkley, and I'm going to call it not the total dead years, in New York, but is he a Hall of Fame player in your opinion? He's won a Super Bowl. He was the
today. The answer is no.
What does he have to do?
You gotta keep playing. Gotta keep winning. You gotta post a couple more seasons. I don't think you need a lot more, but you probably need 2 more seasons that are in line with this past season. I'm not saying 2,000 yards. Don't I don't want to put that kind of burden on it, but 2 more seasons where you play at a really astronomical level and you lead your team to victory. That always makes it easier. I mean, look, Terrell Davis had 4 really great seasons.
And that's who people in Philly are making the comparison to, because he had 7,200 rushing yards. He had to leave the game because of injury. He did win those 2 Super Bowls. And as you know, he became kind of the focal point in Denver. As Elway was aging, Elway, I'm not saying was a non-factor in that, Jace, but they became, with Alex Gibbs' offensive line, the focal point and how they won with playing defense and running the ball. Is that something that Barkley has to do over the next couple of years? Put another Super Bowl on his resume before you would even consider him, because his numbers right now, if he has 3 more thousand yards, that still only puts him at 10. Hell, you got Fred Taylor, who's at 12,000 yards almost. I mean, he's got a bunch of guys when you're talking about making it to the Hall of Fame. So he has to be exceptional over these next 3 years. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's just, I think there's Hall of Fame talent there. And when you watch him play, he does things that just make you go, that looks like a Hall of Famer. But just talent and ability is not by itself enough. There's got to be some achievement that goes along with it, and consistency of achievement. And then there's, team context, which I know a lot of people say, oh, it shouldn't matter what team they're. It does matter. Like those yards that you run for, that the passes that you catch should amount to something. And if it amounts to winning, I don't necessarily take, I wouldn't take it away from Maurice Jones-Drew that he had, X number of yards on a really bad Jacksonville team one year. But I would definitely, what am I trying to say here? There needs to be a little bit more context. There needs to be a little bit more to him.
I think you're dead on. And you know what's funny? You and me see the game the same way, and we see it differently than fans. When somebody asks me a question about Super Bowls, I'm like, that's a team accomplishment and it's totally great. But when I look at a football player, how good are you? Who are you in the league? Are you the best player at your position? Are you the 3rd best player at your position? I mean, when you're evaluating somebody for the Hall of Fame and you see somebody, how much do you put on your eyeball test? How much do you put on the numbers? How much do you put it on that like you said, you don't want to put another Green Bay Packer in the Hall of Fame, do you? That was off the Lombardi teams. I mean, is it enough?
Yeah, I mean, we've had enough.
I mean, for you, when you have a very talented football team, you're not going to sit around and put Fuzzy Thurston into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, because that would be almost the entire old line would be in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, the Packers, and I know there are people who say the 60s Packers are the greatest team of all time. I'm like, yeah, in a 10 or 12 team league, sure. I mean, it's different context. It's, length of season's different. All these things that were so different. But when I look at a team that has 12 players off of a 40-man roster in the Hall of Fame, like, you're telling me literally 30% of your roster was Hall of Famers? Like, this is, it's silly. It's absurd. It's where we look back and it's like we're letting our memories jade us. We fell in love with the Packers and we fell in love with football back in the 60s. Put them all in. It's like, NFL Films did a lot of great things to promote the NFL. Sometimes it created a legend. It's not necessarily true. John Facendo. That's just where you can't, Steve Sable sometimes went just a little too far with with the portrayal. And that's where I think we get it wrong a lot of the time. Now, that doesn't account for there was no free agency at the time and good players didn't stay with the teams. I mean, there are some mitigating factors within this. But, like, there have been guys on those Packer teams that have gone in recently where I've just gone, isn't there enough of these guys? Like,
yeah, no, I mean, and
what happened here? And we're not getting in guys who are current who deserve more discussion, and deserve to be talked about a lot.
You know what, Jason? I'm so happy we're doing this because I get into fights with people in Philly over this. Players today get paid on stats, not winning Super Bowls. Every single top 10 guy that's in the game has a losing record in the postseason, and it's the market. And when you look at that player like a Josh Allen or whatever, you look at what that guy means to that football team, and people go, well, that's a stat-driven thing. Well, that's how players are paid. That's how you're elevated in a sport. When you're looking at a Hall of Fame guy, Jason, how much do you look at the stats of what a guy accumulated in his career versus a guy who played on a great team? You just got through telling me if you're on a great team, you kind of sound like to me, you take that away a little bit. Where a guy,
it's a little bit of everything. This is why there's no magic formula. Like there's no. It's not like trying to like bake a cake, okay? Where you put in a certain number of eggs and you put in a certain amount of flour and you cook it for this much time and what you're going to get, right? Like there's a little bit of it's the eyeball test, which you've talked about. Like, is that guy like unguardable? Is he something truly special? It's something about the feat and what they did, right? How did they contribute to winning? How much did they contribute to winning? It is, a certain amount of longevity versus, okay, did they play enough time to be worth it? Okay. Like what?
Like OJ. OJ played on a crappy Buffalo team, had a great O-line, but he never went to the playoffs in his entire career. And you can make the argument he's one of the top three. Again, I'm not talking about after him. He's one of the top three.
Yeah, if you watch OJ Simpson play football, you went, oh my God. Like totally. You just did. You just
6'4", 6'4",
right.
breaking
We can
away.
talk about all sorts of other stuff, but he jumped off the page.
Absolutely.
Like right. And he was, and fortunately they put enough talent around him so that he had essentially 4 really great years.
Yeah.
His first 2 or 3 years are not that great, because he's on limited teams. He has a 2,000-yard year. I don't want to talk too much about him, but like he got to display it. Earl Campbell, the essence of his career is about 4 years. When you watch Earl Campbell, you went, that is all man. When you watch Barry Sanders play, like the moves that Saquon Barkley does are, like that one where he did the vault at a guy going backwards last year, as crazy as that is, like, I don't know if that makes Barry Sanders top 10.
I played with Sanders. That wasn't anything I didn't see in practice with Barry. I saw that every day.
And that's not to say Saquon's not amazing.
No, but Barry Sanders every day with Barry.
Barry Sanders is a creature from another planet. Deion Sanders is a creature from another planet. Bruce Smith, Reggie White, Lawrence Taylor.
Right.
Like these are human beings. Like they do things that other human beings can never do. Like, and like the shame of it all is that maybe the greatest running back of all time
is Bo.
Is Bo. Like if you ever watch Bo Jackson play, you say, give me him.
Oh my God.
Give me him. And like he should have walked into the Hall of Fame. But
God.
Like 10 years from now, nobody will have heard of Bo Jackson. They won't really know what it was. I mean, he was amazing. So it is eyeball test, it is accomplishment, it is statistical accomplishment, it is team context, it is sometimes longevity. If you're Curtis Martin and again, I'm a big baseball guy. Sandy Koufax is at one end I'm a Dodger fan. You got Sandy Koufax at one end, you got Don Sutton at the other end, right? Okay, they're very different guys.
Sutton
Don
was
Sutton,
the 300 game winner, and Koufax won 160 games.
right? Who's the better pitcher? It's Koufax.
Sandy Koufax.
It ain't even close, right? But you have to give a guy credit when if you take the ball every fifth day for 20-something years and you get 60 shutouts and you're dependable and you get 7-8 innings every time out and you're performing at a high level, you got the most out of your ability. That's where, like, Curtis Martin to me, Don Sutton to me, those guys worked their way into the Hall of Fame. They're not the naturals. They're not the Koufaxes. They're not, they're not some of the other guys that we talk about. They're not an LT or a Barry Sanders, but man, they belong.
Absolutely. Couple more here for you, Jace. Jace, anybody?
No Aaron Rodgers talk?
I'm getting there. That's where we're going here. Now, I'll tell you what I said. I tell you what I think the promotion should be. It should be a geriatric night when the Browns take on the Steelers and you have Joe Flacco, and
geriatric night. It's just terrible.
Hey
man, let me tell you something. Vinny Bum Boots right here. Let me tell you something. If you can play tomorrow, you play tomorrow.
I would, but I'm saying, what's your promotion gonna be? False teeth night? I mean, what are we doing here? Come on now, Jace. I mean, the impact that Aaron Rodgers had.
I'll just say this. I still want to see it. I still want to see if there's anything left. I want to take one last shot. I believe in that. If he doesn't show me anything this year, okay, it's time to move on. Okay, because you got to cut him a pass on the last year with Green Bay. I'll cut him a pass on the injury year. Obviously, he was out. I'll cut him a pass on last year because he's coming back from injury, and it was chaos. I will also ding him by saying, this showing up at the last minute thing is not good, right? Especially when you're trying to get the most out of the last bit of your career. Not good, okay? I disagree with him wholeheartedly on this. He should have been there right from the start. Let's work at this. Let's get ready. I'm going to give everything I possibly can to this team, and I'm going to be all in, okay? He should have done that. And just, taking guys to the basketball games is not enough. Taking guys to, go drink beer is not enough. It's part of it. Don't get me wrong. It's part of it, but it's not enough. Being there at practice, sweating with guys, being in that miserable, in the miserable conditions when you're in the offseason practice, and being there when you would want to be anywhere else is important. It's part of the bonding that goes with football.
Let me ask.
And the fact that he doesn't want to do that is a ding against him. But he's their best chance to win. They got a defense that could win a championship. They should need to see what's left in the tank. He's better than Justin Fields. He's better than Russell Wilson. He's better than Mason Rudolph. At least he's a better shot. Take your chance with him.
Let me ask you this, though, with him. I mean, for you, first ballot, I'm still assuming he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't think it's really a question whether he's not, because he's one of the greatest throwers of the football. However, though, Jace, is there any way that his time in Pittsburgh could change any narrative whatsoever? Is there anything he can do, or has that headstone been written? Is that already in stone now, where that this is what this guy's career was? Is there anything he can do to change his dynamic outside of obviously winning a Super Bowl in Pittsburgh?
Well, that would only enhance it, but you can always change the narrative. I always thought Donovan McNabb was on his way to the Hall of Fame.
Me too.
And then just went
the last 4 years it imploded.
Yeah, it just straight downhill, and then quit. What was it, 33, 34, something like that, or 35, whatever it was. Rodgers is never going to dip that far, and I still think he's overwhelmingly going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer because nobody throws the football better.
Yeah,
nobody threw it better. Some were equal. Like Marino was his equal as a thrower. Elway is his equal as a thrower. All those guys were. They're all right there. But nobody was a better thrower than Rodgers. So, you just sit there and go, yeah, my eyes tell me that guy's Hall of Fame stuff. There's too many moments. So I have a hard time believing it, but sometimes guys can screw with the end of their career. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to go in the Hall of Fame. He's going to walk in.
Has the last one here for you? Has Russell Wilson become the next Donovan McNabb?
Yes. 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 Russell Wilson, now he may still end up in the Hall of Fame because he's got some numbers that are pretty extraordinary. A couple Super Bowls in there. He does have a flub in the Super Bowl with that interception, but that's a hell of a play by Malcolm Butler and great preparation. The play should have worked, except that they anticipated it perfectly. You couldn't anticipate any better. And so to me, it's I think he's worked his way to where
it's a longer conversation.
I still think he's going to make the Hall of Fame. But God, I think it's going to be an uncomfortable situation. Like, to me, he's gone from being a surefire Hall of Famer to being a guy that you debate, sort of like Phillip Rivers. Like, is Phillip Rivers a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
I can make the case for it. Is it going to happen? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, to me,
he's better than Eli.
Who, Russell is?
No, Rivers.
Rivers better than Eli, but Eli still got 2 championships. Now put Eli up next to Russell. Like
Phillip Rivers is better than Russell Wilson.
But put Eli up against. See, I think that Eli.
I don't think Eli's better. I don't think Eli's better either.
Than Russell Wilson?
No, than Phillip. I just don't.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about Russell. I'm talking about Eli
Russell
versus
Wilson. Eli's way better than Russell.
I don't know if it's way better, but but I think he's better.
Yeah.
I'll agree with you that he's better. I don't think he's way better. That's where it gets tough. And this all gets really murky because, again, you talk about team accomplishment versus individual performance versus, there's a lot of factors in this. And, Russell really kind of went down a bad road here. Like, he should have just gutted it out and said, I'm going to stay in Seattle the whole rest of my career, and I will walk, when I'm done, they will pave streets in gold for me in Seattle, and I will be remembered forever.
Absolutely. And so, Jace, I mean, to close it up here, I mean, he went from a guy where I was doing this, man, this guy really unbelievable. 3rd-round draft choice, at a Wisconsin/NC State. I mean, what a great, and all of a sudden I went, hey, man, was that more beast mode and that defense? And all of a sudden
but I'll go with the defense on that one. But I will always come back to when you run that offense, when you run that quarterback option-based offense, beast mode fed off of Wilson as much as Wilson fed off beast mode. That hesitation that offense caused was perfect for a power runner like Marshawn, who's going to get on top of a defense right away and pound a defense. And it was a perfect marriage. It's like trying to listen to Oasis and, rock and roll. Like, the Gallagher brothers may hate each other like crazy, okay? But when they got together and they sang, like, it was perfect. So I always side with, like, there's Marshawn owes Russell, Russell owes Marshawn. Like, they worked really well together. But I still think Marshawn's more likely to be a Hall of Famer than
Me too.
Russell Wilson.
How about
I would definitely agree with that.
Would you agree that is Wilson better than McNabb?
Yeah, Wilson's better than McNabb. He won a title and he was more consistent. He put up some. Go back and look at how many 40 touchdown years he has. I think it's like 4 or 5 of them. I mean, it's a pretty big number. Like, it's not like a lot of his numbers just can't be ignored. Whereas McNabb has, 25, 26, 28. I think he's got one season with 30 touchdowns. And again, I don't want to just say that Donovan's, I don't want to make it all about stats, but I also watched Donovan. And Donovan, for all the things that he did well, I mean, he dirted a lot of balls.
He did.
Right? Yeah, I mean, he sent those things sailing into the ground on a pretty regular basis. So I can't exactly buy into him as, this incredibly gifted natural talent who just should go into the Hall of Fame.
Jace, how's the book coming? And let me ask you one question about Robert Paylor. What's the most inspirational thing about him that you learned writing this book?
The most inspirational thing?
Yes.
He doesn't have any bitterness towards the guy who broke his neck. Like, he doesn't sit here and he forgives him. He doesn't even want to go close to naming him. He doesn't want to get into like what should have happened, shouldn't have happened. He doesn't. I mean, now his coach does. Clearly Jack Clark, the rugby coach at Cal, is still upset to this day about how that was officiated, that incident, and how it was allowed to be happened, because it was definitely an illegal play. And so a lot of people would look back at that and say, my life was robbed because people didn't take care of me and the game was not refereed. There's none of that to Robert Paylor. It's not a single little tiny thing. And when people are able to lose so much, I mean, we're talking about guys, 6'3", 6'4", 230, 240 pounds, a virile, strong man with huge future ahead of him. He's going to be a national champion. Probably would have won it the next year as well. Would have left his imprint. All his dreams were about to come true, and it gets taken away. It gets robbed from you in an illegal play, and to not be bitter about that at all, to not let that seep into your thinking, it's really an extraordinary thing.
Some of the excerpts that I've read,
it's mental toughness.
When I read some of the excerpts that I've read from your book, I see a little bit of Mike Utley in this story, because Utley has no regrets towards the game. Right. He was a guy who, was very positive. Remember the guy from the Jets too, Bird.
Bird.
Dennis, and all those guys that they find inner strength, don't they? That they overcome that kind of adversity. And Dennis Bird and Mike Utley. And reading a little bit of this, it seems that there's no regret. People around them have the regret and the sorrow for where they are now. But doesn't it seem that, because you've covered Dennis Bird, Mike Utley, and now obviously this story here, don't they all have one thing in common, that, they're not bitter. They're not bitter people, and they just are motivated people.
Yes. I mean, that's the spirit of being a great athlete. That's what carries you forward. But I just would say that Paylor's is this ever slight distinction. Like Dennis Bird was hurt because he ran into a teammate. It's a play that happens in football. It's a freak play, but it's a play that happens. Utley was hurt in the normal course of playing football, not intentionally. Robert Paylor was hurt intentionally.
Yeah.
Okay, a kid grabbed him around the neck and drove him into the ground on a play that was banned by U.S. Rugby before the season ever started, and should have been officiated that way. So, again, Robert Paylor has this ability to say, why would somebody drive my head into the ground, some littler guy than me? I mean, he knows why that the guy was doing it. But why do something so cheap and illegal? And why was it allowed to happen? Why didn't it break up earlier? Like, why didn't they whistle the play dead? So I'll just say there is opportunity for Robert Paylor to look back at that and be angry. It doesn't happen. He won't allow it to happen.
I love that, man. Paralyzed to Power. Story of Robert Paylor by our friend here, Jason Cole. Make sure you guys go to Amazon, purchase the book. He always puts great stories out. The Great Elway story, I have it. It's part of my library. And this is a must read as well. If you want to be inspired, these are the kind of books that are inspirational. my friend, we will talk down the line. I should have some information for you soon. Thank you again, Jace, for all you do for me.
Love it. Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
You got it. That's Jason Cole, our friend. Absolutely great stuff. Make sure you guys end up, please, hitting that like button. I appreciate all your super chats. Yes, Sue. I'm an educated man. And here's what Big Sills tries to do. I try to educate everyone here. And that's a national sports writer who picks the all-pro teams. That's the man who, again, covers the National Football League for Yahoo and is a Hall of Fame voter. Man, Terry McLaurin. Wow. Like I said, everybody in Philly, I get it. Everybody outside of Philly, he's a number one. It's like left tackle, right tackle conversation. You understand that, right? Here's a little homework assignment for you. By the way, we don't get guys on this program to agree, which I didn't know what he was going to say. Okay? Scary Terry. Boom! How you doing? That's what we do here, boss. That's right. Hey, by the way, how's he biased? How many people have come on my program and disagree with me? 99% of the people. 99% of the people disagree with me. Michael Irvin called your boy Hurts elite. Frank Wright loves Nick Chiriano. Yeah. I hit the like button. That's a good listen here. It's okay. Okay? Nobody agrees with me? Yeah, okay. Sure. I know. Yes. I know the guy bent over. I still don't get it, but I do dig it. Text Irvin and ask him. Sure, I'll ask him. Who would you take, Devontae Smith? As a matter of fact, I will. I will text Michael Irvin right now. Let's see if I have another wideout in here. And I'll go with what Michael says. Is that fair? Michael, I'm on my show right now. Or let's see here. So I'll ask Playmaker. Let's see here. Here's Playmaker. Michael Irvin. IRVIN. Here we go. Michael Irvin. Mike, who would you take? Who would you take? Devontae Smith. I'll even put Devontae Smith first. Devontae Smith or Terry McLaurin. So you know. Okay. Let's see if I can, before I send it. There's Michael Irvin. Where's the little button there? And I'll send. Okay. So there's send. So we shall find out what Mike says. I'm on the show now. I'm not even going to tell him I took Terry. Here. Let's see here. All right. I think I got Marvin Harrison in here too. So let me ask Marvin Harrison. I'll do that too in the bye. Or in the timeout, I should say. So guess who the other receiver was at Ole Miss with Brown? Oh, no way. Hang on. Kyle, DK Metcalf was the other wideout on the other side of A.J. Brown? I think Devontae Smith is a great football player. I absolutely think he's a great ball player. I didn't say he wasn't. Actually, I've told you guys numerous times, I think he's one of my favorite ball players. Seals, you got Nolan Smith with double-digit sacks? No, I do not. I got actually the guy who I think is going to lead the team in sacks is going to be Jalix Hunt. Okay? No, he's not. How can Devontae Smith be Marvin Harrison when Marvin Harrison was a 1 going against the best DBs every weekend? And Devontae Smith, now, how many number 2 wide receivers have ever made it to the Hall of Fame? That's why I asked Jason. 1. It's John Stallworth for the Steelers. 2s don't make the Hall of Fame. That's why Reggie Wayne's having a tough time getting in. Because the number 1 guy takes on the best DB. They scheme more to him. And just like when everybody, when people line, here, let's do this. When you're lining up to play the Eagles, who's the number 1 person you got to stop? It's Barkley now? Okay. Who's number 2? AJ. Who's number 3? Hurts? Okay. Number 4 is Devontae. So the 4th best dude in your huddle. The 4th best dude in your huddle on the 30th ranked passing game is better than 1 wide receivers in the National Football League. Okay. Again, it's only in Philly. Let's see here. 8 bet Josh Allen will love to have Smitty. Absolutely. He doesn't have anybody up there now. I'm not telling you he's not nobody said he wasn't a great player. Nobody's saying that. Okay? I mean, Devontae Smith, what did he have his rookie year? 900 yards? I mean, he was really good in his rookie year. What do you have, like 80 catches, 900 yards? That's not awful. Again, you got to remember something, folks. You know why Philadelphia is shocked what they're seeing? You've had the shittiest history in the history of wide receivers in any pro football team in the last 35 years. This is the best group of receivers you've ever had for an extended period of time. Philly's not known for wideouts. Never have been. Mike Quick. Let's see. T.O. 1 year. Deshaun Jackson. Wouldn't put him elite. Who else? And AJ. Harold Carmichael was more of a slot guy. And Fred Barnett, who are these guys? You're not known for wideouts. You're known for tight ends. Chris Carter was underwhelming in Philadelphia. He was exceptional in Minnesota. Okay? I mean, Mike Quick was a heck of a player. I could make the conversation. If Mike Quick played in Washington, yeah. If Mike Quick played in Washington and had won Super Bowls with the way that they used him, he'd probably have a shot at Canton. T.O. played 1 year, dude. Yeah, 1 year. I wouldn't call that a career. That's 1 year. I mean, do you understand the current group of guys? Nobody ever had a 100-catch season until this group of guys here, until AJ and Devontae showed up. You've never had a 100-catch wide receiver in the history of your franchise. I mean, D-Jax was not elite. He was an elite football player, though. Special teams guy. He was good, man. I like him a lot. I'm a huge Deshaun Jackson guy. By the way, I voted for him for the College Football Hall of Fame. I don't think I read that list here. Here's who I voted for. I have a ballot every year, and I am fortunate to vote for the College Football Hall of Fame. And this is who I picked. Let me bring this up here. And every year they send it. Here's my ballot. Here's my ballot for the Hall of Fame. Okay, and I posted it on my X account. I picked Des Bryant. I picked Brad Culpepper from Florida. I voted for Aaron Donald from the Rams from the University of Pittsburgh. I voted for Ken Dorsey, University of Miami. I voted for Ironhead Hayward from the University of Pittsburgh. I voted for Deshaun Jackson, Cal. So now again, this is just my vote for the College Football Hall of Fame. I had a bunch of people to vote for, but I put Deshaun Jackson on this. I voted for Cam Newton. I voted for Simeon Rice from Illinois. I voted for Richard Seymour from Georgia. I voted for Ndamukong Suh from Nebraska. I voted for Jonathan Vilma, University of Miami. And I voted for Peter Warwick for Florida State. As for coaches, I voted for Ralph Friedgen from the University of Maryland. And I voted for Senator Tuberville, who was my coach when he was at the University of Miami, and obviously what he did when he was at Auburn. Those are my selections. Yeah, I think Ralph Friedgen's a heck of a coach. I think Ralph did some great things when he was at Maryland, and I voted for Ralph. And people at Maryland think that they were like, "Oh my God, you voted for Terp?" I go, "Yeah, why wouldn't I? I like the guy." My problem with Maryland football wasn't with the people that were there. My problem was with the school itself and one position coach. But the rest of those guys were good people. Yeah, I voted for Cam Newton. I voted for Cam for the Heisman, but I put Deshaun Jackson on this list. I voted for Westbrook last year when he was at Villanova. Yeah. So, I mean, and I voted for Aaron Donald. I didn't vote for any Penn State guys this year, I don't think. Let me see that. No, I voted for two Pitt guys, Aaron Donald and Ironhead. Those are two dudes. Yeah, two dudes from Pitt I voted for this year. And you could see that ballot. It's on my X account. I posted it. By the way, they dig it. And I did that 3 days ago. So, no, there's a requirement. Sills, were you a first ballot Hall of Famer? Nope. Absolutely not. Was I a great college player? Absolutely, yes. One of the truly best to play the position. But first ballot? No. There's a lot of great guys. There was a guy, you guys remember, there's a dude at Penn State by the name of Bruce Clark, Millen and Clark, and he played with Matt Millen. And he was a great football player, and he's not a Hall of Famer yet. If Bruce Clark's not, and he won a Lombardi, I believe, the Lombardi Award. And if he's not in the Hall of Fame, how could I be in? Irvin Fire, a great football player. I think he's in the College Football Hall of Fame already. I missed your super chat. We'll make sure we read it if we did. We appreciate that, guys. You guys have been absolutely great when it comes to the supers, and I appreciate it. Please hit that like button, by the way. What about what Saquon did with the Giants when everyone knew he was getting the ball every single play with a trash line? He earned consideration. James, I would say this. After watching him play, Saquon Barkley, and you heard a Hall of Fame voter. He's not a Hall of Famer right now in his eyes. And there's only 50 of those dudes. And you got to feel if Jason feels that way, there's many more that feel that way. on getting into the Hall. And you got to have over half the votes in that room to get to the Hall of Fame. Okay. It's not just, well, it's a percentage. Okay. You've got to have over like 30 or 35 people vote for you to get in. So and you have to remember who the room is going to be that respected year. So he said it today. There's no way he's a Hall of Famer. That's a guy who's in there voting. You heard the process too on how he looks at players. It's what a player's accomplishments are. You guys call it stats. I call it accomplishments. Okay? It's not stats. It's accomplishments. Only idiotic fans call it stats. Those are accomplishments. 1,000 yards in a season, 1,200 yards. That's a player's accomplishment. Players strive for those accomplishments. Maybe that's why you look at it different. You look at it as meaningless stats. That's what a player strives for, besides winning championships. 1,000-yard season rushing, 1,000-yard receiving, 4,000 passing, 30 TD passes. You guys look down on those things. Well, players don't look down on that. Those are well-earned accomplishments. Okay? See this here? This guy doesn't respect players. When I see people talk like that or say that, you don't respect the game. How would you? You never played the game. You think getting 10 sacks or playing and getting 10 sacks in consecutive seasons or like multiple years, you guys look at that as stats. You have no respect for the game. It's no respect. I mean, guy gains 1,500 yards rushing. You guys look at it, well, those are just stats. That's a fucking amazing accomplishment in my eyes. So do you guys think Reggie White was a stat machine? He didn't win anything in Philly. Look at his stat. I mean, that's an unreal accomplishment. That's disrespecting the game when you don't look at it like that. See, look at this. Again, bro, you don't know what you're talking about. A player plays and has a great career in the NFL. And you guys say, well, if the guy doesn't win a championship, they're hollow numbers. So you downplay his career. I have no respect for that guy. Or I'll take this back. I have no respect for how he sees NFL players. I have no respect for that. Now, he may be a good guy and all. I shouldn't have said that. But Donald was a better, look at this. Aaron Donald was a better pass rusher than Reggie White. Where in the world would you get that? Get this, Master. I don't give a shit what you're saying. It's how it landed. Okay? Absolutely. Get this. Fletcher Cox was a spectacular all-around defensive tackle. You know, one of the first takes I gave Xander, I go, I'm a Fletcher Cox fan. I like him better than Aaron Donald. He's like, you're crazy. Well, I think Donald was a better player. I mean, I think Fletcher was a better ball player than Aaron Donald. But the sacks are flashy. The TFLs are flashy. But Fletcher Cox could play the run. I mean, yeah, but here, Donald couldn't play the run. He didn't want to play the run. Look at the defenses he played on. 18th against the rush. 17 against the rush. I see who you're talking about. Yeah. He ain't never played on run-stopping defenses. I think the guys who are the complete ball players and the 3-down guys, those are the dudes I like. Like my favorite D lineman, Sapp was a great 3. Sapp and I may not see eye to eye, but I'll tell you flat out, Sapp could play the run. He could pass rush. He was an electric guy on the field. That dude up in Minnesota that played too, he was a great player at defensive tackle. I don't even think he was drafted. And he could play the run. He could play in a pass rush. He was a spectacular player. Like I've said this before again about Fletcher. Fletcher was an all-around player, man. I mean, he was. And yeah, John Randall, Kyle. John Randall, man, he could ball. Yeah, look at Dowd here. Fletcher's first 5 years were unbelievable. You know what happened, Dodd, to him? He ran into, like, Sue, as great as Cox was, Fletcher Cox was, Sue was better. And Sue was insane great, 10 sacks. But I always thought that Fletcher, because of his ability to play the run, I never thought he was in the same room with Adama Sue, but he is. So if you're going to tell me that, and I just voted for Adama Sue to the College Football Hall of Fame, and if you're going to tell me that, like Adama Sue in the Big 12 championship game, I think that's the last time Nebraska won it or were in it. I think they may have beaten Texas. I don't remember how that was, but he dominated that football game. And he was just so good. Am I right when I say that Fletcher played at Ole Miss? Man, he was good. What a good ball player. Yeah, so you guys called it stats. I call it achievements, accomplishments. Mississippi State, all right. Yeah, player goes out and gets 1,400 yards rushing or 14 sacks. That's a stat to you. That's an accomplishment to me. Because do you know how hard it is to even play in that league? Let alone excel in that league? Ain't that easy. If that was the case, like I said to you before, there's only been 27,000 men who've ever played pro football in 108 years. I happen to be one of them. And those dudes that go on and play 10 plus years and have great careers like Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox, those are the 1%ers of the 1%ers. So anytime I see an accomplishment, I find it remarkable on what players do. And you see guys having double-digit sack years, multiple years. Like look at Brandon Graham, for instance. Brandon Graham had double-digit sacks one time in his career. One time. And Brandon Graham had a fabulous career. Fabulous career. That's why I hate doing this. When somebody asks me, how good do you think this player is? Now, when you start doing this, Sills, where do you, like, did you hear what he said about McNabb? McNabb was on his way to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I thought Donovan McNabb, I thought he was a slam dunk Hall of Famer. His last 4 years, unfortunately, were just so bad that it turned the page. I mean, did you hear what he said about Russell Wilson? Russell Wilson was a slam dunk conversation. And these last 3 years, 4 years, have been so detrimental to Russell Wilson's career, it's now a conversation. Is that guy a Hall of Famer? You think that guy's a Hall of Famer? Before it wasn't even a conversation. Nobody debated that. Wilson better than McNabb. Really? Really? How about this? If Donovan McNabb was the starting quarterback today, do you think Donovan McNabb would have won a Super Bowl with that offense and that defense? Would he have won? No. Kyle says absolutely. Really? If McNabb was the quarterback in that huddle, hey, I'll say this to you. Okay. Being clutch. Being clutch with good talent helps. Hell yes. Yeah. This is no disrespect to Hurts. How about this one here? If Jalen Hurts was on that 04 offense, would he have won a Super Bowl against New England that day? Wide receivers were marginal. But they were okay. They were okay. Tight end was really good. The back was sensational. Probably yes. Okay. Okay. Again, you don't have AJ or Devontae out there. You're not fearing you feared McNabb in the passing game. You wouldn't fear who was on that team. Fred Mitchell, T.O. T.O. was on that team, so he was a virgin of A.J. Brown. Okay. All right, fair enough. A.J. was on, or T.O. was on that team with a broken foot. Shit, 14 games. He had an insane season. I mean, that year is one of the best wide receiver years of all time. You know, in the era where you didn't really throw the rock around. Yeah, you know what I always thought too? I always thought the real big negatives on McNabb was how many NFC championship games did he have? 5? And he cashed in 1? Man, you had all those opportunities. It was almost like he had missed opportunities. Dude, he's 10 times better than Dak Prescott. Donovan McNabb. Way better. I mean, you make all the comments you want, but Donovan McNabb was way better than Tony Romo. Way better than Kirk Cousins. I mean, way better. You could make the comment is who's better, McNabb or Phillip Rivers? I might take Donovan. The stain on McNabb is all those NFC title games we lost, besides against the Rams. We were favorites. Should have won those games. I think the last game at the I'll never forget this, dude. That's also an indictment on Andy Reid. I think the one game that always sticks out for me in the McNabb era is the final game at the Vet when the Bucks beat you. I can't remember what year that was, but that final game at the Vet, and the Bucks were not supposed to beat you guys. They went in there and they won that game. Okay? And the Bucks went in there. 0-2 was it? They went in there in 0-2. And Tampa went in and won that game at Veterans Stadium. And I was on the air in Tampa at the time. And I was like, what? I thought Philadelphia was going to kick the shit out of them. And Tampa went up there and took that game. And they won that final game at the Vet before you guys moved in to Veterans Stadium. I mean, of all the losses you've ever had, the Super Bowl loss in 80, some of those other NFC title games, that game to me because I remember I was on the air in Tampa. And I was on the air in Tampa. I remember everybody saying, oh my God. They went up to the vet and they won that NFC title game. To me, I think that drove Philly fans crazy because that was a game. And then he ended up going to the Super Bowl in 2004. But I always thought that game was one of the games that you always looked at and you were like, shit, man, that was the game I thought you were going to win the Super Bowl. It was the worst. Real Zeal, thank you, brother. Chad Johnson used to do radio in Houston. Heard him say once that he couldn't believe the Eagles did not go no huddle at the end of that Super Bowl because nobody could cover Terrell Owens. That is such a great comment. Dude, the Patriots were not covering. That guy was running. What did he have in that game? 14 catches? Like 120 some odd yards. He was so great in that game on a broken wheel. Everybody was like, I remember I was at that Super Bowl. And I got a press credential for that Super Bowl. I was there for that. And I remember, and we're watching this, and we're watching this game. And we're like, they can't cover him. Like you've never seen a guy just ripping a heart of a team out. And by the end of that game, I don't know what it was with McNabb, but he was just on flames, man. I mean, I thought he was not in shape or something. That's right. I forgot that. You guys destroyed. The Bucks were on we were the flagship station of the Bucks in 2002, WDAE when I was doing mornings. That's right. Eagles crushed. I thought that because that's why I thought when you guys played them in the NFC title game, I was like, they're going to beat the shit out of them. I mean, and then I don't know Gruden and Monty Kiffin and those dudes went in there and the winner of, you guys have to realize the winner of that game was going to be the Super Bowl champion. Right? Yeah. The winner of that 2002 NFC title game, they were going to beat the shit out of the Raiders in San Diego. They were going to kill the Raiders. I was at that Super Bowl too. The one that the Bucks won. I mean, that NFC title game was really the Super Bowl. Because, I mean, Bucks got into that Super Bowl. That game was never close. And that loss, then the Super Bowl loss, then how McNabb ended his career, probably ended his chances at making it to the Hall of Fame. But, dude, that guy for 80% of his career was playing Hall of Fame football. That just shows you. Remember how I tell you guys? At one point, you could think Donovan McNabb was a Super Bowl or a Hall of Fame player. But his performance towards the end, just like Russell Wilson's. How about you hear Jason Cole? He said the same thing about Russell Wilson. He's like, I go, is that guy kind of dented where it's now a conversation? He goes, yeah. McNabb also loved to throw to his wide receivers' feet instead of their hands. That's what Jason said. All right, guys. I got to take a couple timeouts here, too, because I don't think I've taken one yet. So do me a favor. Please hit the like button here. Hey, I tell you this all the time about Morgan & Morgan, our good friend John Morgan. I mean, we're so proud to have him part of the program here. With over $30 billion recovered for a family here in Pennsylvania. One of the reasons that these guys are number one is because they win. Thousands of attorneys from coast to coast. There's no story if you don't win. And that's exactly what Morgan & Morgan does. I mean, look, like I said, look at the families in California who lost their homes. John's there with his team of attorneys, and they're getting reparations for every single person that has lost their home. Down in North Carolina, the same thing. This is number one in what they do. Do me a favor. If you're ever injured, go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor. You tell them Big Sales sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Make sure I get this here, put save here. Let's see if yeah. Okay. Mike, who would you take? Devontae Smith or Terry McLaurin? I'm on the show now. I took Terry. Mike, who you taking? I whited out his name or his number. He took Terry. Not that hard. I mean, you had a Hall of Fame voter, now a Hall of Fame player. Only in Philly. I mean, you're right. It's not even a debate. It's not a debate. Only in Philly is that a debate. That Devontae's better than Terry McLaurin. Like I said, a Hall of Fame voter and a Hall of Fame player both say the same thing. Fans in Philly are not going to like that. I mean, and you're right. It's not close. It's not a conversation. I agree. It's a funny one, actually. One guy takes on the top corners in the game, and the other guy doesn't. By the way, like I said, there's only been one guy I can even think of that was a number 2 that made it to the Hall, and it was John Stallworth. Number 2 wide receiver. This is why Reggie Wayne is having a tough time getting in, because he played on the other side of Marvin Harrison. It's not that hard. And this guy's playing with, like you guys are saying, old guys, not a very good roster, and he's still a top flight and top talent. McLaurin is a top talent. He's just in a shitty environment. So again, unfortunately, when you see a guy and you go, oh, it's that. Well, so you got a voter and a player who are both in Canton. You're right. It's not that hard. It's not really a debate. I just did my homework. I asked a Hall of Fame voter and a Hall of Fame player. There's my homework. I hope the assignment. I can't believe Mike got back to me. Usually takes him about a month to get back with me. Okay. By the way, this is no shade on Devontae, man. That guy's a great football player. I mean, he is. He's a really good football player. Let's see. Okay, let me ask you this. Scary Terry has better numbers. Well, only because he's a 1 and he gets more targets. Devontae Smith is not a targeted player like AJ is. Okay? He's the best receiver in the league. I'm sure he is, man. Hey, Next Gen, I'm sure you think that. Absolutely. I don't even know what McLaurin's numbers are. No idea. I'm just looking at the eyeball test. And by the way, again, he's a sensational player. It's no shade. He happens to play on the other side of a really spectacular ball player. Best route runner, and the best hands for a number 2 in the league. Sure, okay. All right. If that's where you want to go, hey, absolutely. Hey, absolutely. Terry's comp is AJ. Yeah, and he's nowhere near AJ. Right. Here, that list of PFF. Here, he's nowhere near Jefferson. He's nowhere near AJ. I don't believe he's anywhere near Chase. St. Brown, I think he's near Puka. CD's probably better. I think he's better than Nico Collins. Tyreek Hill, I am not a fan of, but I guess Mike Evans and him are probably the talent comparison. Here's what PFF wrote about him. Terry McLaurin. And then we'll read what PFF wrote about. I didn't even read it. And this is what Pro Football Focus wrote about Terry McLaurin from the Washington Commanders. McLaurin is the toughest player to rank on this list, but regardless of where he lands, he's simply a high-level receiver. He leads the league with 89 contested catches since 2020. Nobody in the league has better contested catch ratios than Terry McLaurin. And he's accumulated a WAR of 131 over the past 3 seasons, which ranks 7th among number 1 wideouts. I don't know what the fuck we're talking about here. Let's read here with what they said about Devontae. Smith is about as reliable a number 2 wide receiver as there is. Very true. He has earned receiving grades between 77 and 83 in each of his first 4 seasons, and 2024 marking a career high at 83.5. His contested catch rate has consistently hovered around 40% throughout that span. Let's see here, which is great. And unfortunately, he wears the tag of number 2. You can't compare 2 receivers versus 1. There is none. Okay? I mean, there isn't one. Hey, Hall of Fame player, Hall of Fame voter. And like I said, it's all good. He's a great number 2. Fantastic number 2. There's your homework assignment. Completed as usual with Big Sills. How you doing? I think that's what everybody says. You know what I'm saying? I think it's like what everybody says. It's the way things land. Yeah. By the way, if the Commanders don't want to pay him $40 million or $36 million, somebody else will. Don't worry, that guy will find a job. That guy's going to get a gig in Washington and New York. Okay. Who's the 2 in Washington? Debo. Debo was a 1, or I don't know. Yeah, he was the 1 there. Now he's a 2. Boy, Terry McLaurin to the Bills. I'd love to see that. Holy cow. Throw that guy up there with Josh Allen in Buffalo. How you doing? That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Brandon Ayuk. Here, let's see what they think of Brandon Ayuk, because he was let's see where Brandon Ayuk falls. Again, this is PFF. This ain't me. Here, let's see here. Here's Brandon Ayuk. They got him 2 spots down. Ayuk was one of the NFL's top receivers in 23, finishing with 92.3 receiving grades and an outstanding 18 yards per catch. It's one of the league's premier deep threats. However, his efficiency and production dropped off in 04. He now enters the upcoming season fresh off ACL and an MCL tear. Not good. Let's take a look at how they look at A.J. Brown. They got A.J. Brown ranked number 1. PFF. Brown dominates the listen to this read. Okay, listen to this read on AJ. Brown dominates defensive backs across the board, but his success against single coverage is especially notable. His earned the highest receiving grades versus single coverage in 2024 with a 96.6 and leads the league in that category over the past 3 seasons, 22 to 24 with a 97 grade. He can win on every play against any defense and against any scheme in the league. That, my friends, is an impact football player. When you hear people talking like that about you. Here's Jefferson. Jefferson has been in the conversation for the league's best receiver since his rookie season. Over the past 3 years, the Viking star ranks 2nd among all wideouts in cumulative WAR and also holds the 2nd best per season WAR of all time. Take a look at Jamar Chase. Oh, wait, let's take a look at CeeDee Lamb. Lamb's production dipped in 24 with Prescott sidelined, but over the past 3 seasons, he ranks 5th among wide receivers and trails only Jamar Chase in total yards after the catch. Okay. Let's see here. Mike Evans. Despite missing time with hamstring injuries, the 30-year-old Evans topped 1,000 yards for the 11th consecutive year and earned him the 2nd highest receiving grade of his entire career. What an accomplishment. 11 straight years. Nobody's done that, including Jerry Rice. Or I think he tied Jerry Rice for the all-time receiver. So let's see what they say about T. Higgins. That's good because he's a number 2. So let's look at that. What do they say about it? Here's the number twos. There's no number twos ranked in the top. $13. Higgins is the first. Higgins is ranked ahead of, again, that whatever, ranked ahead of Devontae. In a contract year, Higgins posted a career high receiving of 88.3. He primarily operates as an X receiver, which is the 2, but he excels in that role. Since entering the league in 2020, his 71 contested catches rank among the top 5 at the position of all in the league. There's probably your comparison to Devontae. It's T. Higgins and him. And remember, T. Higgins just signed a $25 million contract too. I mean, him and Devontae are making pretty much the same amount of money. Okay, I mean they're both $25 million. Brian Thomas, who I like, this kid from LSU down at Jacksonville. Thomas Jr. emerged as a true difference maker in the second half of the rookie season, finishing with 83.4. His trajectory is curly upward, and heading into the 2025, he will be a splash player, especially if the Jags get him the football. Here's Chris Godwin, another number 2. Godwin would rank higher if not for uncertain surroundings in his return from his dislocated ankle, who suffered in 24. Before the injury, he was on pace for a career year, earning 85.7 receiving grade. And since 2019, ranks 13th all-time amongst the receivers currently in the league. So he's put up great numbers. Let's see George Pickens, where they got him ranked, if he's even in here. Where's Pickens? I'm down at 32. He's not even in the top 32 rankings heading into 2025. Let's see, I might have missed him. No way. They don't have George Pickens ranked in the top 25. Here's Malik Neighbors. Neighbors was outstanding in his rookie season. Despite inconsistent quarterback play, he earned an 87.1 receiving grade, 9th best in the league. He's an impressive route runner or a first-year receiver that suggests even greater production and even greater things with better surroundings. Makes this player an upward trend guy. Seriously, I mean, they had shit boxes last year throwing him the football. Here's Tyreek Hill. Man, Hill's production dipped in 24 as it did much of Miami's offense. And he finished with a 7.73 receiving grade. Still, it's difficult to rank him lower than 8th, given how dominant he's been for the years that he's posted. He posted the second highest wide receiver rankings in both 22 and 23, with 1779 and 1861. Again, no, man, Miami's a different style of passing. Now, like I said, none of these guys are being ranked because a team wins. They're being ranked because of individual skill set. You understand that, right? This is not a team thing. This is skill set for each player. Jefferson second. What's Minnesota won? Chase is third. What's Cincinnati won? Ahmad St. Brown is fourth. What has Detroit won? What has Puka Nacua done in the league? He's ranked 5th. It's skill set. It's not team. I mean, Nico Collins was a nobody before C.J. Stroud showed up. Okay? I'd like to know, if I can, I'd like to know if they came out with the quarterback rankings yet. PFF 2025. PFF top QBs. Top QBs. PFF. 2025. Let's see if they got that here. Okay, PFF rankings heading into the 25 season. Mahomes 1, Burrow 2, Lamar 3, Allen 4, Hurts 5. That's where I have him. Here, Jalen Hurts' 2024 campaign, capped by an impressive Super Bowl run, was a return form from a turbulent 23 season. I know everybody in Philly thinks he played great. Outside of Philly, they don't. A year earlier, Hurts, too, often pressed in high-level moments, struggled under pressure, but he flipped the script this past season, showing poise and control even when things broke down around him. After a slow start, he found his rhythm and delivered when it mattered. Over the past 3 seasons, he has a 91.5 overall grade, ranks him 5th. They got him ranked ahead of Jaden Daniels, by the way. Just if you're keeping score, they got him above Daniels, which is great. You got Daniels at number 6. Perhaps the crowning Daniels a bit too early, as plenty of quarterbacks have had standout rookie seasons, only to regress in year 2. But what separates Daniels is his poise under pressure and his clutch moments late in the year. His rookie campaign was arguably the best anyone has ever seen in NFL history, with his 90.6 overall grade marking the highest ever graded player at a quarterback in his rookie season of anyone that we've been doing this since we've been recording it. So this guy, according to PFF, has had the greatest single season ever recorded by PFF. Now, I don't know how long they've been in it, but I thought that's a pretty great grade for Jalen, having him at 5. Now, that's pretty good comments. They got Herbert at 8, Goff at 9, Geno Smith at 10, Purdy at 11, Mayfield 13, Kyler Murray 15. Get this, a $55 million guy, and Trevor Lawrence is 16th. Here, get this. Dak Prescott's a $60 million a year guy. This was my point earlier. The $60 million man is ranked 17th. Best quarterback heading into the season. Damn. I mean, must be good, man. All right. Great stuff as always, my friends. I appreciate all of you. Please do me a favor. Hit the like button. 2 to 6 tomorrow, and we shall see you on the flip side.